Chapter 3804. One day, Guillermo informed him that a day had passed since Lu Ming grabbed the bead and entered that magical world. It was no wonder that the silver-haired elder and Jaundice had recovered from their injuries. "Why did the two of you sneak attack me?" Lu Ming asked coldly. The silver-haired elder and Jaundice stared at the bead in Lu Ming's hand, emitting a scorching radiance. A divine king's lifespan was 5 stellar years, a divine lord's lifespan was 10 stellar years, and a divine emperor's lifespan was even 100 stellar years. The silver-haired elder and Jaundice were old monsters who had lived for dozens of stellar years. Their minds were extremely sharp. They had been severely injured by the monster and had fled in a panic. However, they quickly reacted and realized the key point. After the monster unleashed its energy, its aura weakened. It was clearly in a weakened state. Of course, they were cautious by nature and did not dare to return rashly. Instead, they waited for their injuries to recover before sneaking back. When they returned, they did not see the monster at all. They only saw Lu Ming holding the bead in a daze. Needless to say, that bead was definitely a precious treasure. The two of them attacked without hesitation. They wanted to kill Lu Ming first and then snatch the bead. As for the friendship they had with Lu Ming when they fought the enemy together, what was that? Could it be eaten? Fortunately, Lu Ming woke up at the critical moment and blocked the attack. Hee. The silver-haired elder sneered. He stared at the bead in Lu Ming's hand and said, "Little brother, we obtained this bead when we fought the monster together. Now hand it over." "That's right. This treasure should be divided equally between us," Jaundice added. "If you want to divide the treasure equally, you should have just told me. Why did you sneak attack me? Since you've ambushed me, don't even think about getting this treasure," Lu Ming said coldly. With a thought, the bead was kept in his storage ring. The silver-haired elder and Jaundice's faces darkened. "Kid, you have to think carefully about whether you have the ability to take it all for yourself," the silver-haired elder said coldly. "You can try," Lu Ming said indifferently. The silver spear that Chiu had transformed into pointed at the silver-haired old man. "Brother Huang, it seems that this brat is stubborn. Let's join forces and kill this brat first, then we can discuss the distribution of the treasures. What do you think?" The silver-haired old man looked at Jaundice. "Okay." Jaundice's reply was very simple. As the sound of his voice faded, he stepped out, and a powerful aura gushed towards Lu Ming. The silver-haired old man's long hair fluttered as he charged towards Lu Ming. "Kill!" Lu Ming shouted and took the initiative to attack. His silver spear light was like a rainbow, piercing through the void and shooting towards the silver-haired old man and Jaundice. At the same time, the silver-haired old man and Jaundice also made their moves. Two terrifying attacks attacked Lu Ming, fiercely colliding with the moonlight spear light. At the moment of collision, the moonlight spear light shook violently. The moonlight shone brightly, illuminating the starry sky. The moonlight spear light pierced through the silver-haired old man and Jaundice's attacks, and then flashed past, leaving 2 bloody holes in their bodies. The two of them retreated at full speed, looking at Lu Ming in astonishment. "Your attack power, how is that possible?" The silver-haired old man and Jaundice shouted at the same time. They were astonished. How could Lu Ming's attack power be so strong? 1 against 2, and he had managed to injure them in 1 move. They didn't know that this was actually Chiu's real attack power. Previously, when they had faced that monster, Chiu hadn't been able to use its full power. That monster had been completely condensed by the strong wind, so it had been easy to destroy it. However, it was useless to destroy it, because it would condense again. It was as if Chiu's attack had hit nothing but air. At that time, Chiu hadn't been able to use its full power. Chiu had the strength of the 2nd godly emperor layer, and after turning into a silver spear, it could defeat or even kill cultivators of the 4th godly emperor layer. As for Jaundice and the silver-haired old man, they had been injured and hadn't recovered yet, so their fighting strength wasn't at its peak. Naturally, they had been injured by Lu Ming and Chiu's joint attack. "Die!" shouted Lu Ming. He attacked the two of them again, not giving them a chance to catch their breath. The silver spear light fell like a meteor, piercing towards the silver-haired old man and Jaundice. At the same time, 3 gravity pearls flew out, and a powerful gravitational force enveloped the two of them. Even though the 3 gravity pearls couldn't have a decisive effect on cultivators of the 4th godly emperor layer, they could still interfere with them more or less. The two of them were startled, and hastily tried to defend themselves. However, they were already injured, and their fighting strength wasn't at its peak. They were also suppressed by the gravity pearls, so their fighting strength was even weaker. They were no match for Lu Ming and Qiu. The two of them were pierced by the spear light. Jaundice's heart was pierced by the spear light, and he was nailed to the ground. He coughed up blood, and his face was deathly pale. The silver-haired old man's stomach was pierced by the spear light, and he was sent flying a few hundred li away. Lu Ming wouldn't miss such an opportunity. He didn't waste any time. He fused with his spear, and turned into a dazzling spear light which shot towards Jaundice. No! Jaundice let out a roar of despair. In the next instant, the silver spear had already pierced through his forehead. His soul naturally couldn't escape and was crushed by the destructive power of the spear light. Jaundice had died. A few hundred li away, the silver-haired old man was scared out of his wits. He didn't care about his injuries and started running away. Lu Ming groaned coldly. He turned into a spear light and chased after the silver-haired old man. The silver-haired old man had been severely injured, and his speed had decreased greatly. Lu Ming chased after him with all his strength, and the distance between them was getting shorter and shorter. Little brother, it's a misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. I don't want your treasure anymore. It's yours, shouted the silver-haired old man in fear. It's too late to say that. When you attacked me by surprise, you didn't show any mercy. Lu Ming said coldly. Little brother, I was wrong. I was blinded by lard just now. I won't do it again. As long as you let me go, I'll be your slave, the silver-haired old man shouted. Seeing that the distance between him and Lu Ming was getting closer, he was so scared that he couldn't stop trembling. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with him. He controlled the gravity orb, and the strong gravity pressed down on the silver-haired old man. The silver-haired old man's speed was slowed down by the gravity, and Lu Ming caught up with him in an instant. Little bastard, I'll fight it out with you. Seeing that Lu Ming didn't intend to let him go, the silver-haired old man became ruthless. His face was distorted, and he turned around to attack Lu Ming. However, it was useless against Lu Ming. The silver spear light flashed. The silver-haired old man, who was already injured, couldn't withstand a single blow. He barely blocked 2 moves before being swept by the spear. His body exploded, leaving only his head behind as he fled frantically. Lu Ming raised his hand and thrust out his spear. The silver-haired old man's head exploded, and his body and soul were destroyed. Chapter 3805. After killing the silver-haired old man, Lu Ming kept the storage rings of the silver-haired old man and Jaundice. Then, he took out the bead again and started to think. Lu Ming actually obtained the 3,000 ancient secret techniques from this bead. Moreover, he felt that the bead contained a terrifying flame storm. Previously, that monster had activated a wisp of energy from the bead and formed 9 clones to self-destruct. Lu Ming was considering whether he should cultivate the Great Divine Wind technique. Senior Bone Demon, do you think I should cultivate the Great Divine Wind technique? Lu Ming asked Bone Demon. Cultivate, this is the 3,000 ancient secret techniques, why not? Bone Demon said. But I saw a powerful existence self-destruct in the end. Lu Ming hesitated and told Bone Demon about the scene he saw before. So it's because of this, then there's no need to worry. Cultivating the Great Divine Wind technique will definitely not cause self-destruction. The reason why the man you mentioned self-destructed, I reckon that his cultivation had reached a certain level and he wanted to break through to the next realm. In the end, he failed and self-destructed. The further one cultivates, the harder it is to improve. Breaking through is also dangerous. This is very normal. Bone Demon explained. Lu Ming suddenly understood and finally felt relieved. He was worried that the powerful existence he saw had self-destructed because he was cultivating the Great Divine Wind technique. Now that it turned out not to be the case, he could cultivate in peace. Lu Ming planned to cultivate the Great Divine Wind technique here. There was still more than a year before the 3 years he set. Moreover, this place was filled with strong winds. It was the best place to cultivate the Great Divine Wind technique. It was simply blessed by the heavens and had a great effect on the cultivation of the Great Divine Wind technique. Lu Ming kept the bead and silently went through the cultivation method of the Great Divine Wind technique in his mind. Then he began to cultivate. The 3,000 ancient secret techniques were very difficult to cultivate. Even the entry level was astonishingly difficult. Ordinary people might cultivate for a lifetime and still not be able to touch the threshold. Even a genius would need to spend a lot of time to cultivate before they could succeed. However, for Lu Ming, it was not that difficult. Firstly, Lu Ming's comprehension was at an abnormal level. Secondly, Lu Ming had already cultivated more than 500 kinds of secret skills. He could comprehend them by analogy. He had experience in cultivating secret skills that others could not. Thirdly, this place was filled with strong winds that had not dissipated for hundreds of millions of years. This was left behind by the terrifying expert who cultivated the Great Divine Wind technique. Lu Ming could use it as a reference. It was equivalent to half an expert guiding him. With these 3 conditions, it was not difficult for Lu Ming to cultivate the entry level. Time passed day by day. In the blink of an eye, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, soon more than a year's time. Between heaven and earth, a figure flashed rapidly. Every time, a figure flashed brought up. Lu Ming seemed to be wrapped in a layer of strong wind. Wherever he passed by, the strong wind would automatically disperse. It did not affect Lu Ming at all. Boom! In the end, Lu Ming condensed a hurricane. With a palm strike, the hurricane formed a terrifying force that cut the void into pieces. Lu Ming let out a long breath and stopped. The wind around his body also dissipated. As expected of the Great Divine Wind technique. It's so powerful. It's far from being comparable to ordinary secret techniques. Lu Ming praised with a smile on his face. After more than a year of cultivation, Lu Ming finally succeeded in cultivating the Great Divine Wind technique. It turned into a secret technique rune and integrated into a cell. Lu Ming had just succeeded in cultivating the Great God Wind technique, but he discovered that the power of the Great God Wind technique was far above that of ordinary secret skills. Under the activation of his taboo power, the power was even stronger than that of the secret skill of the origin that had severed 3 shackles. It seems that I still need to spend more time on the Great Divine Wind technique in the future. Lu Ming thought. The Great Divine Wind technique was different from other secret techniques. For other secret techniques, it was integrated into the cells and let the scattered soul in the cells slowly comprehend it. After a long time, it would naturally increase in maturity. However, the Great Divine Wind technique was too slow to be comprehended. It needed Lu Ming to personally comprehend it and increase its power. It would become one of Lu Ming's killer moves. And this round bead, with a thought, the round bead appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Lu Ming named it the Gale bead. In the past year, Lu Ming had also taken the time to study the Gale bead. The Gale bead contained a terrifying flaming storm. It gave Lu Ming a feeling that if it was released, it could destroy the world. Unfortunately, the Gale bead contained layers of seals. It was difficult to release the flaming storm in one go. If he wanted to release the storm in the bead, he needed to use the Great Divine Wind technique to guide it. The stronger the Great Divine Wind technique was, the more seals it could break and the bigger the flaming storm it could release. With Lu Ming's current mastery of the Great Divine Wind technique, he could release a terrifying force. This force was far beyond his own strength. This could be Lu Ming's killer move. Lu Ming kept it carefully. 3 years are almost up. I wonder how the sky prides of the various clans are doing now. Let's go out and meet them. Lu Ming smiled. Now that his combat strength had increased greatly, he was looking forward to the clash with the sky prides of the various clans. Lu Ming walked towards the exit. Now that he had mastered the Great Divine Wind technique, the gale was ineffective against him. His speed was much faster. Soon he left the Gale Galaxy. After a while, he returned to the Fengdu Sword sect. As soon as Lu Ming returned to the Fengdu sword sect leader Wang knew about it and immediately came to see Lu Ming. Sect leader Wang, you finally dare to come to see me, Lu Ming said indifferently. Sect leader Wang smiled bitterly and said, little brother Mu Yun, please forgive me. My Fengdu sword sect is just an ordinary force, and those sky prides are all from powerful races on the list of 10,000 races. If I were to go against them, the Fengdu sword sect would soon disappear from the desolate universe. Lu Ming could understand sect leader Wang. Those powerful races were indeed not something the Fengdu sword sect could afford to offend. Just now, he was just complaining. Sect leader Wang, how have the sky prides of the various clans been in the past few years? Have they come to the Iron Sea Star region? Lu Ming asked. They're here, of course they're here, and there's a lot of them. Sect leader Wang said, ever since you left, sky prides have been gathering from all over the desolate universe. Some want to challenge you, and some are just here to watch the show. However, since you're not here, these sky prides will stay in the Iron Sea Star region. They thought that the elf princess Ling Yue was in the Iron Sea Star region and searched everywhere. Unfortunately, they couldn't find her. However, in the past few years, the Iron Sea Star region has been very lively. It's rare for these sky prides to gather, so they often hold various gatherings to spar with each other, waiting for the 3-year agreement with you. After sect leader Wang's explanation, Lu Ming had a rough understanding of the situation in the past few years. Myriad Dao Dragon Emperor Myriad Dao Dragon Emperor. Chapter 3806. After sect leader Wang's explanation, Lu Ming had a rough idea of what was going on. Are there any gatherings of geniuses? Lu Ming asked. Are you going to look for them? Sect leader Wang said. Since they're already here, it's not a good idea for me to not show up. The 3 years are almost up, it's time for me to meet them. Lu Ming said with a smile. Little brother Mu Yun, let me warn you. Don't be careless. Even though there are no monstrous geniuses above the godly emperor realm, there are still some terrifying geniuses who are extremely powerful. It's easy for a quasi-emperor to kill a godly emperor. Sect leader Wang reminded with a solemn expression. Although Lu Ming was extremely talented, his cultivation was still a little weak. Sect leader Wang was afraid that Lu Ming wouldn't be a match for those geniuses. Thank you for your concern, sect leader Wang. I know what I'm doing, Lu Ming said. Seeing Lu Ming so confident, sect leader Wang didn't try to persuade him anymore. There's a gathering of geniuses on planet Kuan soon. You can make it if you go there now. Alright. Lu Ming nodded and went straight to planet Kuan without stopping. Planet Kunming Lake was vast and the lake water was as clear as a mirror. One could see many divine fish swimming around in the lake. There was a small island in the center of the lake. At this moment, many geniuses were gathered on the island. These geniuses were from various races and they were all there for Lu Ming. In the past few years, they couldn't find the elven princess, so they often held gatherings to spar with each other while waiting for Lu Ming's arrival. Of course, in addition to the geniuses of various races, there were also geniuses from the 18 forces in the Iron Sea Star Zone. These people were not there to challenge Lu Ming, but to make friends with the geniuses of various races. There was a battle platform in the center of the island. At this moment, 2 young men were sparring on the battle platform. Both of them were 9th-level divine lords and their combat strength was similar. They fought back and forth and it was very lively. Around them, many young men were drinking and watching the battle while chatting. Do you think Mu Yun will show up? It's been almost 3 years. Hee, do you think he will appear again? The reason he said he would fight again in 3 years was just to find an excuse to delay the time. Now that the geniuses of various clans have gathered, how could he have the guts to come out? I think so too. It's best if that guy doesn't come out. His reputation will be ruined from then on. The elven princess will naturally not marry such a person. Even if he appears, there are many people who can suppress him and make him lose face. What is he? He even dared to reject the elven princess? Who does he think he is? Everyone was discussing. When it came to Lu Ming, some sneered and ridiculed him, while others had cold gazes. These people's hearts were filled with complicated emotions. If Lu Ming agreed to marry the elf princess, They would be unhappy. They would think that Lu Ming was not qualified and would want to kill Lu Ming. However, they were even more displeased that Lu Ming had rejected the elf princess. They had tried so hard to woo her, but Lu Ming had rejected them? Didn't that mean that they were even more trashy and were pursuing something that others did not want? In short, they wanted to suppress Lu Ming and make Lu Ming lose face. In this way, not only would they gain face, but Lu Ming and the elf princess's marriage would also be ruined. It was killing two birds with one stone. Look who's that? Suddenly, someone pointed at the lake in the east and shouted. Everyone couldn't help but look in that direction. On the lake in the east, a young man was walking on the waves, looking very suave. This young man was naturally Lu Ming. It's Mu Yun. He finally showed up. I didn't expect him to really show up. Very good. Many people stood up and revealed cold gazes. The two young men who were sparring on the battle platform also stopped and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's speed was very fast. In a few steps, he arrived at the small island. He flew in the air and landed on the battle platform in the middle of the island. The two young men in the battle platform quickly retreated, not daring to face Lu Ming. In fact, although there were many geniuses present, not many of them dared to fight with Lu Ming. After all, back then, Lu Ming had defeated Xiao Dao, who was a famous genius among the quasi-emperors. He was indeed powerful. Everyone's eyes fell on Lu Ming. Mu Yun, you're finally here. Fight with me again. A voice was heard. A purple light flashed and a young man appeared on the battle platform. Jianghu Prefecture. This young man was actually from Jianghu Prefecture. Jianghu Prefecture is going to fight. I heard that his Eastern Purple Chi technique has made a breakthrough again. He wants to defeat Mu Yun and reclaim his honor. In the Purple Sun Prefecture, he can be considered a top figure. Not many people can break through immediately after being defeated, after being humiliated. Many people were discussing. Lu Ming glanced at Jianghu Prefecture and shook his head. You're not my match. There's no need to fight anymore. How would you know that I'm not your match if we haven't fought? Lu Ming, aren't you overconfident? Jianghu Prefecture said. His body was shrouded in purple light and his battle intent was strong. After being defeated by Lu Ming, he didn't feel disheartened. Instead, he felt humiliated and made a breakthrough in his Eastern Purple Chi technique, allowing his battle strength to reach a higher level. Back then, it wasn't easy for Lu Ming to defeat him. There was a limit to how much stronger he was. Now that his battle strength had increased, he was confident that he could compete with Lu Ming. Is this enough? Lu Ming wasn't interested in talking to Jianghu Prefecture. He directly released his aura. The people of the Jianghu stared with their eyes open wide. 7th level Divine Lord. Jianghu Prefecture opened his mouth with a hoarse voice, his eyes full of disbelief. He clearly remembered that in the Resource Alliance Agreement, Lu Ming was still just a 5th level Divine Lord. In the end, borrowing his pressure, Lu Ming successfully broke through and reached 6th level Divine Lord, then defeated him. But how long had it been since the Resource Alliance Agreement? Just a few years. Lu Ming actually broke through again. When did Divine Lord Realm become so easy to break through? The key was that when Lu Ming was a 6th level Divine Lord, his battle strength was already very terrifying. This kind of prodigy, each breakthrough, his battle strength would have a tremendous increase. This was also to say that after Lu Ming broke through to 7th level Divine Lord, he was not Lu Ming's match at all. No wonder Lu Ming would say that he wasn't Lu Ming's match and didn't need to fight anymore. Indeed, he didn't need to fight anymore. Even if he made a move, it would also be seeking humiliation. At this moment, the battle intent on Jianghu Prefecture's body disappeared without a trace. His eyes revealed a hint of dejection. Swoosh! Jianghu Prefecture turned around and left, directly leaving Star Kuan. His heart was already in a mess. He needed to find a place to adjust his mentality. The following great battle he did not wish to watch anymore. Jianghu Prefecture actually left? What's going on? Didn't even fight and he lost his fighting spirit. Truly a good-for-nothing. There was an uproar at the scene. Most people did not understand why Jianghu Prefecture directly left. They did not know that Lu Ming's cultivation rose from 5th-level Divine Lord to 7th-level Divine Lord within a short few years. If they knew, wonder what their expressions would be? Myriad Dao Dragon Sovereign, Myriad Dao Dragon Sovereign. Chapter 3807. What a piece of trash. He's a disgrace to the Ziying race. On one of the seats in the crowd, a purple-robed young man sat in a carefree manner. A cold and disdainful voice came from his mouth. Many people looked at this person with grave gazes. They recognized who he was. He was Zitai Tsang, the prodigy of the Ziyuan race. The Ziyuan race was ranked 67th on the Eldritch 10,000 races list, which was stronger than the Ziying race. Legend had it that the Ziyuan race and the Ziying race used to be the same race a long time ago, but for some reason, the two races split and became the Ziyuan race and the Ziying race. Both races were ranked in the top 100 of the Eldritch 10,000 races list, which showed how terrifying the two races were. However, the Ziyuan race had always thought that they were the orthodox race and looked down on the Ziying race, which was why Zitai Tsang mocked them. After mocking them, Zitai Tsang stood up, and purple light burst out from his eyes. He stepped out and landed on the battle platform. Zitai Tsang is going to attack. Many people's eyes lit up. Zitai Tsang was also a quasi-emperor, but he was more famous and stronger than Pashao Dao in the Ziyang state. In particular, the powerful prodigies present all smiled. Zitai Tsang's attack was enough to test Lu Ming's strength, so they could respond. Boom! Zitai Tsang's body was enveloped by a layer of purple light, which was filled with a luxurious aura. It looked very similar to the Ziyang state. He's going to attack. Quick! Many people took out their illusory divine jades and directly broadcast the battle live. Many people across the universe immediately received the news and opened their illusory divine jades to watch the battle. Muyin, make your move. Use all your strength. I want to suppress you in front of everyone. Zitai Tsang said in a domineering manner. Let's see if you have the ability to force me to use my full strength. Lu Ming said indifferently. How arrogant. Purple Sun Divine Art, Purple Qi from the East. Zitai Tsang shouted and clenched his fist. Two wisps of purple qi flew over from the distant sky and were caught by Zitai Tsang. He was also using the purple qi from the east, which was exactly the same as the one in the Ziyang state. It seemed that the two races were from the same origin. A pair of purple wings condensed behind Zitai Tsang's back. With a flap of his wings, his figure charged towards Lu Ming like a bolt of purple lightning. At the same time, the two strands of purple gas in his hands turned into two purple divine swords and slashed towards Lu Ming. Space was sliced apart like a piece of paper by the purple sword. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming's attack was very simple. He directly swung his fist to meet the attack. When he made his move, Lu Ming had already activated 5 times his combat power. Clang! Clang! Lu Ming's fists were like two sledgehammers as they smashed onto the purple divine sword. An earth-shattering boom erupted as the two figures rapidly retreated. However, Lu Ming only retreated 3 steps before he stabilized his figure. As for Zitai Tsang, he retreated explosively. He retreated several dozen steps before he staggered and stabilized himself. By the time he steadied himself, his face was already flushed red. In the first move, he was completely at a disadvantage. Your strength is not bad. You are slightly stronger than Ziyang state. However, you are no match for me now. A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Previously, Lu Ming had not used the gravity orb. He had only used his own strength to suppress Zitai Tsang. One should know that Ziyang state could kill an ordinary first-layer divine emperor. Zitai Tsang was stronger than Ziyang state. He could easily kill an ordinary first-layer divine emperor. He was a terrifying monster. He was far from being comparable to an ordinary person. However, Lu Ming had only used his own strength to suppress him. Purple Origin Divine Armor. Zitai Tsang shouted as his purple hair fluttered in the wind. An armor appeared on his body and wrapped around him. This was a secret treasure refined by the Ziyang tribe. Once worn, it could increase one's combat power. It could increase one's offensive and defensive strength. Boom! After putting on the Purple Origin Divine Armor, Zitai Tsang charged toward Lu Ming with a violent aura. just like a violent dragon. The two purple swords in his hands were even more powerful. They whistled as they slashed towards Lu Ming. Interesting. Lu Ming's lips curled up. He did not use the gravity orb. Instead, he used his forbidden strength to fight back. Lu Ming rushed out. All the cells in his body were trembling. Apart from the great divine wind skill, he gathered all the offensive secret skills on his fists and threw them out continuously. The violent fist energy created a spatial storm and crushed toward Zi Taizong. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them clashed fiercely. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. The terrifying energy shocked many people. Many people who were watching the battle through the illusory divine jade turned solemn. Such combat power had completely surpassed the Divine Lord realm. Ordinary first-layer Divine Emperors would not be able to participate in such a battle. If they got close, they would be injured. He was already considered a top genius in the primitive universe. However, although Zi Taizong's combat power had increased with the help of the Purple Origin Divine Armor and could temporarily fight against Lu Ming, he was still no match for Lu Ming. After exchanging dozens of blows, Lu Ming's fist hit the Purple Origin Divine Armor on Zi Taizong's chest. Lu Ming's fist contained hundreds of offensive secret skills and taboo powers. All of them erupted. Even though the Purple Origin Divine Armor had amazing defensive strength, it could not withstand the blow. The place where it was hit caved in. The terrifying power hit Zi Taizong's body, causing him to groan. His body flew out like a cannonball and blood spurted out of his mouth. Lu Ming was at a disadvantage in one move. He would not give him another chance. His figure followed closely behind Zi Taizong and his fists landed like a violent storm. Although Zi Taizong tried his best to block, he could only block a few blows. After that, he was hit continuously. His body flew out of the battle platform and he coughed out blood. Dozens of his bones were broken and cracks appeared on the Purple Origin Divine Armor. Zi Taizong had lost, and he had lost miserably. This made the faces of most of the spectators turn ugly. Mu Yun's combat power has increased again. He's even stronger than when he fought against Xiao Dao. Indeed, when he fought against Xiao Dao, he used 2 stone beads that could release gravity. However, he did not use them this time. This means that he still has a trump card. Everyone's faces became more solemn as they discussed. Who else wants to fight? Lu Ming stood in the arena and continued to issue challenges. His fighting spirit was soaring. Most of the youths present looked at each other. In the end, they all looked at a few people. Although there were many elites present, there were not many who could fight against Lu Ming. I'll do it. At that moment, a youth stood up. His long robe fluttered in the wind. It's Sha Lu 19 from the Sha Yin tribe. Many people recognized this youth. The Sha Yin tribe was ranked 56th on the Eldritch 10,000 tribes list. It was a tribe more powerful than the Purple Origin race. Sha Lu 19 from the Sha Yin tribe was one of the best in the Sha Yin tribe. He was very powerful and was very famous among the quasi-emperors in the Eldritch universe. This was because this person was close to being on the quasi-emperors list. Chapter 3808. The top 100 quasi-emperors list was not an official list. It was a list made by many people in their spare time. It imitated the Universe Genius list and listed 100 quasi-emperors. These 100 quasi-emperors could be said to be the ceiling of the quasi-emperors. Each one of them was terrifying and extremely powerful. Slaughter 19, who killed the Seal tribe, was a peerless genius who almost made it into the top 100 quasi-emperors list. Everyone looked hopeful. They hoped that killing 19 would be able to suppress Lu Ming. Slaughter 19 stepped into the air and landed on the battle platform, standing opposite Lu Ming. A cold and terrifying murderous intent permeated the air, causing the temperature of the entire world to drop. Mu Yun very good. It's the first time I've seen such a battle prowess at the 7th level of the Divine Lord realm. I will suppress you and trample on your pride to make my name as an invincible one, helping me ascend to the Quasi-Emperor's top 100 list. Slaughter 19 clasped his hands behind his back, looking unparalleled in the world. Needless to say, this person was extremely conceited. Lu Ming almost laughed. This guy had not even made it into the top 100 quasi-emperors list. How could he be so confident? Therefore, Lu Ming said directly, "You haven't even made it into the top 100 quasi-emperors list, yet you are so arrogant. Aren't you afraid that others will laugh their heads off?" "What did you say?" Slaughter 19's face darkened. His murderous intent became even colder. "Well, I will make it simple. I said that you are a piece of trash. Do you understand?" Lu Ming said indifferently. "Boy, how dare you insult me? You are courting death." Slaughter 19 jumped up like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. He stared at Lu Ming with a ferocious expression. Dazzling rays of light burst forth from his body. 2 runes appeared on his palms and he blasted them toward Lu Ming. The 2 seals exuded terrifying fluctuations and contained terrifying power. They directly shattered the void and pressed toward Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming threw out 2 punches and shattered the 2 seals. However, this was only the prelude to Slaughter 19's attack. Madra of slaughter, Madra of absolute death. Shedding 19 roared and waved their hands. Countless talisman seals appeared around them, each of which glowed with divine light and surged with murderous intent. Boom! 9 consecutive talismans gathered together and shot toward Lu Ming. Its power was many times stronger than the previous 2 talismans. The killing imprint race was born with the ability to control the killing sigil. The godly energy they cultivated was the godly energy of slaughter. The Origin's secret technique they awakened was the slaughter imprint technique. When cultivated to the peak, they could slaughter everything under the heavens. It was incomparably terrifying. Wherever the slaughter sigil passed, the void was constantly destroyed. With the power of destruction, it charged towards Lu Ming. Boom! Boom! Lu Ming clenched his fists, trying to resist. However, when Lu Ming's fists collided with the slaughter Madra, he felt waves of terrifying slaughter energy rushing towards him. Lu Ming's body shook violently, and he couldn't help retreating a few steps. Mu Yun has been pushed back. He's at a disadvantage. He's going to lose. When the surrounding elites saw that Lu Ming was forced to retreat, they jumped to their feet excitedly as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They were all supreme talents from various races, but during this period, they were suppressed by Lu Ming, a mere disciple of the Fengdu sword sect, to the point that they couldn't even lift their heads. They were extremely sullen. When they saw that Lu Ming was finally at a disadvantage, they naturally couldn't suppress their excitement. The Slaughter Madra of the Slaughter Madra tribe is indeed powerful. Lu Ming muttered to himself. He couldn't help but sigh at the terrifying talents of these races. Lu Ming might not be a match for Slaughter 19 without the help of the gravity orb. This wasn't because Lu Ming was too weak, but because his opponent was too strong. Where did Lu Ming hang out in the past? It was just the Taishu dynasty, a pseudo-universe level force. How many supreme talents could there be? The Taishu dynasty was nothing in the vast chaotic universe. It was just a speck of dust. And the opponent he was facing now was the top monstrous talent in the entire chaotic universe. In the chaotic universe, how many forces, how many supreme talents, it was hard to count clearly. As for Massacre 19, he was ranked near the top 100 among the countless demonic geniuses and quasi-emperor level demonic geniuses. This kind of person was also someone who had supreme opportunities and terrifying talents. His battle strength itself was abnormally powerful. It was naturally not that easy to deal with him. Lu Ming being able to fight against him as a 7th-level divine lord already showed the terror of the taboo body. But in the vast universe, there were countless supreme talents. Some people could even contend with the taboo body at the same level. It was also normal. Therefore, Slaughter 19 was very proud. He had the capital to be proud. After Slaughter 19 saw that Lu Ming was pushed back, his aura became even more violent. One after another, slaughter runes charged toward Lu Ming. Gravity orb. Lu Ming's heart stirred. With a wave of his hand, the gravity orb flew out. However, Lu Ming did not use 3 gravity pearls. He only used 2 of them. 2 gravity orbs were enough to deal with Slaughter 19. Buzz. The 2 gravity orbs emitted a powerful gravitational force, enveloping Slaughter 19. Break for me. Slaughter 19 roared. His slaughter seal technique burst forth. Several slaughter seal technique actually turned into slaughter swords, slashing through the void, actually wanting to break the gravitational force. He was clearly prepared. He had seen the battle between Lu Ming and Broken Knife before. Only Lu Ming had a stone orb that could release gravity and had been on guard. However, he still underestimated the gravity orb. Although the slaughter sword slashed open the void, it did not break the gravitational force. The powerful gravitational force pressed down on him, making his body tremble. The slaughter seal technique surrounding him also trembled. And the slaughter seal technique attacking Lu Ming also trembled, its speed slowing down a lot. Lu Ming's figure flashed, avoiding several slaughter seal technique attacks. His body was like a flickering shadow, charging towards Slaughter 19, both fists blasting out continuously. Kill! Slaughter 19 roared, using all his strength. The slaughter seal technique around him spun rapidly, shining with divine light. One after another, it blasted toward Lu Ming. Boom! 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 Lu Ming swung his fists, colliding head-on with the slaughter seal technique. In an instant, the two had exchanged dozens of blows. Finally, some of the slaughter seal technique could not withstand Lu Ming's attack and were blown apart by Lu Ming's fists. The slaughter seal technique was like a violent current, while Lu Ming went against the current, breaking through the current, approaching Slaughter 19. In the end, Lu Ming defeated Massacre 19's last Massacre seal with one punch. The violent fist force bombarded Massacre 19's body. Massacre 19 gave a muffled snort and his body flew out of the fighting ring. He landed on the small island and coughed out mouthfuls of blood. He could not move at that moment. He was severely injured by Lu Ming's punch. And this was after Lu Ming showed mercy. Otherwise, he would definitely end up with his body and soul destroyed. Slaughter 19 was defeated. The faces of the geniuses present were extremely ugly. Even Slaughter 19 was no match for Lu Ming. Who else could be a match for Lu Ming? Chapter 3809. There was silence on Kunming Island. Those who were watching the battle through the illusory divine jade in the universe were also silent. Lu Ming's combat strength had really shocked them. It was really shocking for a 7th-level divine lord to have such combat strength. Who else wants to fight? Lu Ming stood on the battle platform and continued to challenge. However, no one around the battle platform accepted the challenge. Today, there were no peerless demonic geniuses on the top 100 quasi-emperors list. The strongest ones were only demonic geniuses close to the top 100 quasi-emperors list. However, even Massacre 19 was not Lu Ming's match. Would others be able to change the outcome? Lu Ming's eyes swept across the crowd. He could sense that there were a few people who had strong fighting spirit and wanted to fight, but they had scruples. No one else wants to fight? It turns out that your strength is only SOSO. No wonder you don't have the guts to pursue the Elven Princess and come to find trouble with me. Unfortunately, you found the wrong person. Lu Ming's voice resounded throughout the crowd. Damn it. Damn this guy. The young geniuses around gritted their teeth. Lu Ming's words were like slaps on their faces, making them feel ashamed. They wanted to rush out and fight Lu Ming, but they held back when they thought of Lu Ming's strength. They were extremely sullen. Who knew that a mere disciple of the Fengdu sword sect was so abnormal? If they had known, they wouldn't have mustered so many people and rashly rushed over. Now, they were in a difficult position. Many people were watching. Even the Elven Princess was watching. Some of them even wanted to turn off the illusory divine jade. However, if they turned it off now, wouldn't it mean that they were afraid of Lu Ming and didn't dare to open the illusory divine jade? Looking at a genius who was glaring at him, Lu Ming smiled calmly and said, I know there are some experts among you. How about this? I'll give you a chance. If you want to fight, come at me together. What? Lu Ming actually asked them to fight together? Hearing those words, many people were immediately enraged. He was being looked down upon and looked down upon. What? Don't dare? Come on, I'll take it all. Lu Ming continued. You said it yourself. Don't blame us for bullying you with numbers. Someone spoke up, his intentions stirred. That's right. Since he's so confident, let's spar with him. Another person spoke. Talk too much. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Lu Ming said. Since he wants to fight, we'll fulfill his wish. A bald young man took the lead and rushed onto the fighting ring. As soon as the bald young man moved, several other people also moved and rushed onto the Colosseum. Of course, the Sky Prides present did not rush up like a swarm of bees. There were only a total of 3 young men on the stage. These 3 young men were all monstrous geniuses at the same level as Massacre 19. They were all very powerful. This brat is really arrogant. He wants to fight against 3 people at the same time. Does he think that his battle prowess is comparable to those monstrous geniuses in the top 100 quasi-emperors list? Someone expressed their opinion in the illusory heavenly jade. This brat's talent is indeed amazing. If his cultivation is higher, he can easily enter the top 100 quasi-emperors list. But now, he's still a little lacking. Someone else voiced their opinion. However, although they were chatting, their eyes were still fixed on the image projected by the illusory heavenly jade. In the Colosseum of Kunming Island. Boom! Lu Ming and the 3 Sky Prides engaged in a fierce battle. The 4 figures engaged in a fierce battle on the Colosseum. However, Lu Ming still did not use his full strength. He only used 2 gravity orbs. In this way, the 2 sides seemed to be evenly matched and the battle was extremely fierce. The heavens and the earth rumbled. The 4 figures kept flashing and colliding. Every time they collided, it stirred up a terrifying force that swept out in all directions. However, there were layers of formations set up in this area that could block the force. This was the reason why the Sky Prides chose to spar there. Otherwise, with their strength, they could easily blow up a planet, and the damage they could cause would be too great. The 4 of them exchanged a few hundred blows. In the beginning, it was difficult to determine the winner. However, after a few hundred blows, the divine power of the 3 Sky Prides gradually weakened. Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand. Bang! Finally, the first Sky Pride was hit by Lu Ming and flew out of the Colosseum. With another one sent flying, one less Sky Pride was no match for Lu Ming. Not long after, another one was sent flying. The remaining one was even weaker. After 2 blows, he was also sent flying. The 3 Sky Prides were all injured and coughed up blood. They were sent flying out of the Colosseum. This battle was still won by Lu Ming. The entire place was dead silent. All of the geniuses had terrible looks on their faces. Even the 3 experts were defeated. Could it be that Lu Ming's combat strength had really entered the top 100 quasi-emperors list? Of course, there were some exceptions. They were the local geniuses of the Iron Sea Star Zone. These people were gloating in their hearts. The Sky Prides of the various races were all high and mighty and did not take them seriously. Although they tried their best to please them, not many of them looked at them seriously. When they looked at them, their eyes were always full of contempt. However, for their own future, the geniuses of the Iron Sea Star Zone could only be thick-skinned and please these people. Naturally, they were quite unhappy, but they did not dare to show it. Now that they saw these people being suppressed by the Sky Prides of the Iron Sea Star Zone, they were secretly happy. When they looked at Lu Ming, they also felt that Lu Ming was much more pleasing to the eye. Lu Ming naturally did not care about these people's thoughts. He glanced around and said, "It seems that no one can fight me." These words caused many people's faces to turn red. Mu Yun, don't be arrogant. This time, there are several experts on the top 100 quasi-emperors list. It's just that they are not on planet Kuan. When they arrive, it will be easy for them to suppress you. Someone shouted. I remember that you said the same thing before coming to the Iron Sea Star Zone. What about now? Lu Ming said lightly. Humph, don't be arrogant. I've already received news that several experts on the top 100 quasi-emperors list are on their way to planet Kuan. If you have the guts, don't leave. Someone shouted. Indeed, several geniuses on the top 100 quasi-emperors list who had just arrived in the Iron Sea Star Zone had said in the dreamy divine jade that they would soon come to planet Kuan. Oh, is that so? Then I'll wait for them here. Lu Ming's eyes flickered a few times. Then he sat cross-legged on the fighting ring and took out a bone bead. He began to absorb energy and store it in his cells to enhance his potential. The reason why he did this was that he was curious about the combat strength of the Sky Prides on the top 100 Quasi-Emperors list. Chapter 38:10. Although the top 100 Quasi-Emperors list was not as formal as the Universe Prodigy list, it was made by many people in their spare time. There would definitely be omissions and some geniuses would not be listed. But it was not far off. The geniuses on the top 100 Quasi-Emperors list could definitely represent the highest level of Quasi-Emperors in the primitive universe. The others also waited, including those who were watching through the dreamy Divine Jade. However, the dreamy Divine Jade was already in an uproar. Countless people were discussing. Lu Ming actually dared to wait here for the geniuses on the top 100 Quasi-Emperors list to arrive. He was really bold. Could it be that Lu Ming was holding back his strength? At this moment, there were indeed a few geniuses in the Iron Sea Star group that were heading towards the Star of Kuan. These people were the geniuses on the top 100 Quasi-Emperors list. Haha, interesting but too arrogant. I'd like to see what other trump cards this kid has. No matter how strong you are, you will still crawl under my feet. These powerful geniuses had different thoughts as they hurried towards the Star of Kuan. Of course, a star group was very vast. It was impossible to connect all the places with wormholes, so it would take some time to reach the destination. More than a day later, buzz. Ripples appeared in the air above Kunming Lake as a figure suddenly appeared. It was an extremely burly young man with 2 bull horns on his head. They were like 2 heavenly blades that pierced the sky. A tyrannical aura spread out from this person. He was only a quasi-emperor, but he gave off a feeling that he could swallow the universe. It was as if a terrifying divine emperor was standing in front of him. It's Niu Sun from the Divine Ox clan. He's ranked 99 on the top 100 quasi-emperors list. There was a burst of exclamations. Many people were excited and their eyes lit up. The geniuses on the top 100 quasi-emperors list had finally arrived. Although the Divine Ox clan was not ranked high on the primitive universe 10,000 races list and had not entered the top 100, it did not mean that there would not be geniuses. Niu Sun was a peerless genius of the Divine Ox clan. He was extremely powerful and had trampled many geniuses of the top 100 races under his feet. He was considered to be the most talented genius among the younger generation of the Divine Ox clan. Niu Sun took a step forward and appeared in the air above the fighting stage. His tyrannical aura kept pressing down on Lu Ming. Looks like I'm lucky to be the first to arrive. Let me suppress Mu Yun, Niu Sun said coldly. After that, he directly made his move. Boom. He took a step forward, and a gigantic ox hoof condensed in the sky, stomping down on Lu Ming's head. It looked like a casual kick, but in fact, Niu Sun had used his full strength. He wanted to trample Lu Ming under his foot. He was also one of the Elven Princess suitors. He knew that the Elven Princess was probably watching. He wanted to show off his invincible self in front of the Elven Princess. He had complete confidence in himself. He had witnessed the battle between Lu Ming and the other Sky Prides. Based on the battle prowess that Lu Ming had displayed, he was confident that he could suppress him. Before the huge hooves landed on the ground, the entire fighting ring shook violently. You really can't wait. I'll fulfill your wish then. Niu Sun's attitude made Lu Ming very unhappy. Therefore, Lu Ming directly used 3 gravity orbs. The 3 gravity orbs flew up into the sky, and the violent gravity pressed down on Niu Sun. Niu Sun staggered and almost fell off the fighting ring. The ox hoof that he had condensed also trembled. Lu Ming flashed, dodged the attack of the ox hoof, and appeared above Niu Sun's head. Boom, boom, boom. Lu Ming's feet continuously stomped on Niu Sun. The cells on Lu Ming's feet were also integrated with many leg-type secret techniques. When they erupted, the power was no weaker than his fists. In fact, every cell in Lu Ming's body contained the taboo power. Various secret techniques had been integrated into every cell in his body. Therefore, Lu Ming's entire body was a weapon that could erupt with powerful power. However, Lu Ming was used to attacking with his hands. Therefore, he had always used his hands before. It was the same with his feet. His huge feet stomped on Niu Sun's face. Give him a taste of his own medicine. Niu Sun let out a loud roar. His horns glowed, and 2 saber lights burst out, trying to block Lu Ming's attack. However, the gravity from the 3 gravity orbs was too strong. It was much stronger than the gravity from 2 gravity orbs. No matter how strong Niu Sun was, he could not withstand it. Just the gravity orbs alone were enough to injure Niu Sun. Under the pressure of the gravity, it was very difficult for him to circulate the divine power in his body. His muscles and bones were trembling, as if they were about to break. Under such circumstances, how could he block Lu Ming's attack? The attack that he forced out was weak and powerless. Bam! The saber lights burst out from Niu Sun's horns were shattered by Lu Ming's foot. Lu Ming's feet continued to stomp on Niu Sun's face. Niu Sun screamed. His body fell to the ground like a meteorite and crashed heavily on the fighting ring. It was too miserable. One of his horns had been broken by Lu Ming. His nose was crooked, and a large part of his face was caved in. Blood was flowing out. Moreover, he was pressed down by the gravity and was lying on the fighting ring like a dead dog. He could not move for a while. The geniuses and the experts who were watching through the dreamy heavenly jade were stunned. They thought that their eyes were playing tricks on them. Niu Sun, a top genius on the quasi-emperor's list, had arrived arrogantly to suppress Lu Ming. In the end, he was defeated by Lu Ming in an instant. He was trampled to the ground by Lu Ming. What the hell was going on? Many people could not react in time. It was not until Niu Sun groaned on the ground for a while that the crowd came to their senses. 3 gravity orbs. So this kid can activate 3 gravity orbs. What a miraculous treasure. Activating 1 gravity orb can increase its power by so much. He seems to have 12 gravity orbs in his hand. Can he activate all of them? Who can defeat him then? That's impossible. Normally, this kind of treasure requires a high cultivation level. If one's cultivation level is not high enough, it will be difficult to activate its power. Otherwise, a weak person can dominate a region with just 1 treasure. That's impossible. It's unrealistic. That's right. I think he can activate the power of 3 gravity orbs at most. The geniuses present were all successors of powerful clans. They had seen and heard of all kinds of treasures. Soon, they figured out the mysteries of the gravity orbs. However, even with that being the case, their expressions were still very serious. The power of 3 gravity orbs was already terrifying. Together with Lu Ming's combat strength, it was like adding wings to a tiger. Even someone as strong as Niu Sun would be killed in 1 move if he was careless. Chapter 38:11. Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hand and a ray of divine power swept Niu Sun off the fighting stage. He then kept the gravity orb and the strong gravitational force disappeared. However, at this moment, the void trembled, and the figure of a young man appeared. He was wearing a black robe and he was tall and slender. His face was pale and he was very handsome. Moreover, this person was very handsome. His pale skin and handsome face made him look like a woman. At the same time, a terrifying chill spread out from his body. Sun Moon Tribe, Yin Shang Yangye. Someone exclaimed and was overjoyed. The young man who had just arrived was no ordinary person. He was from the Sun Moon Tribe. The Sun Moon Tribe was ranked 32nd on the primitive 10,000 tribe board. He was born with an extreme Yin body and could control the extreme cold force. Yin Shang Yangye was a peerless genius in the Sun Moon Tribe and he was ranked 66th on the top 100 Boundary Emperors board. He was much stronger than Niu Sun. Yin Shang Yangye stood in the air and looked around. When he saw the injured Niu Sun, his eyes narrowed and his gaze froze. Niu Sun, you are injured? Who injured you, Muyun? Yin Shang Yangye was in disbelief. Yin Shang Yangye, you have to be careful. Mu Yun can activate 3 gravity orbs. The gravitational force is strong and it is at least 5 times stronger than 2 gravity orbs. Niu Sun said, his face still pale. However, he had thought that the gravitational force of 3 gravity orbs was 5 times stronger than 2 gravity orbs. When Lu Ming had fought against him, he had not activated all of his strength. If he activated all of his strength, the gravitational force would be 10 times stronger. Yin Shangyangye nodded and stepped out. He stood in the air above the fighting stage. Mu Yun attack? Yin Shangyangye said coldly. After all, he was not Niu Sun and his combat strength was stronger than Niu Sun. Even if Lu Ming could activate 3 gravity orbs, he could still protect himself. The moment he spoke, Yin Shangyangye landed on the fighting stage. Against Lu Ming's gravity orbs, it was not wise to stay in the air. It would be easier to resist the gravitational force if he landed on the ground. As soon as his feet touched the ground, a layer of frost immediately appeared on the ground and spread towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of Lu Ming. Lu Ming felt a terrifying chill rush from the soles of his feet to the top of his head, wanting to freeze his entire body. Boom! All the cells in Lu Ming's body trembled and burst out with a terrifying vibrating force. In an instant, the chill was shaken away. At this moment, a pair of wings condensed from ice appeared on Yin Shangyangye's back. With a flap, he arrived in front of Lu Ming. There was a black airflow circling around his body. This was the power of Yin. It was said that a sliver of the power of Yin could freeze an entire planet. The power of Yin coiled around Yin Shangyangye's palm as he slammed it towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not dodge and threw out a punch. There was a terrifying roar and Lu Ming retreated rapidly. There was a layer of ice on his arm and it was spreading toward his body at an alarming speed. A layer of ice armor had already appeared and it seemed as if it was going to freeze every cell in Lu Ming's body. Boom! Lu Ming channeled his forbidden energy and attacked with all his might before finally breaking away from the chill. The power of Yin is indeed terrifying. Lu Ming was shocked. There was also the power of Yin in the lesser worlds, but it was completely different from the power of Yin in the primitive universe. The power of Yin in the primitive universe was many times more terrifying than the power of Yin in the lesser worlds. At this moment, Yin Shangyangye charged towards Lu Ming again. "I've played enough with you." Lu Ming growled, and 3 gravity orbs flew out. Boom! A terrifying gravitational force instantly enveloped the entire fighting stage. Yin Shangyangye's body trembled, and he almost lost his balance. "Boundless Taiyin freeze?" Yin Shangyangye roared, and a tiny wisp of power of Yin appeared between his eyebrows. This wisp of power of the sun seemed small, but its power was even more terrifying. This was Yin Shangyangye's origin secret technique. As soon as the origin secret technique was used, the chill around Yin Shangyangye's body became even more terrifying. Countless cold waves rushed out in all directions, and the void completely froze. It was as if even gravity could be frozen. In fact, the gravity was not frozen, but a part of its power was blocked. Primitive ice god body. Yin Shangyangye roared, and his body underwent a drastic change. His body became somewhat transparent, like a piece of transparent ice. In the blink of an eye, Yin Shangyangye turned into a 10-meter-tall ice man. This was Yin Shangyangye's primitive divine body, which was modeled after the primitive ice god. In this way, Yin Shangyangye could be said to have used all his trump cards. He stepped forward, broke through the gravitational force, and charged at Lu Ming. How could Lu Ming be afraid of him? His figure flashed and he punched out. Boom boom boom. The two of them clashed again, and this time, it was even more intense than before. Yin Shangyangye's battle strength was indeed terrifying. After going all out, even Lu Ming couldn't do anything to Yin Shangyangye for a while, even with 3 gravity orbs. The two of them exchanged dozens of blows, but there was no clear victor. The combat ability of the Yin Merchant and Yang Leaf was much stronger than that of Niu Sun. It was very terrifying. Lu Ming gradually activated the gravity of the 3 gravity pearls. In the beginning, the Yin Merchant and Yang Leaf could withstand it. However, when the power of the 3 gravity orbs reached 90%, Yin Shangyangye finally felt immense pressure. He felt that his body was wrapped in layers of power, and the pressure made it difficult for him to move. He had to use all his strength to break through the gravitational force and block Lu Ming's attacks. At that moment, there were ripples in the air, and a figure appeared in the air. This was still a young man. His figure was tall and slender, and he was quite handsome. He wore silver silk and had an elegant bearing. However, many people were shocked when they saw the young man. It's 9 Silkworm Prince from the Sky Silkworm tribe. He's here too. He's a terrifying genius ranked 49th on the top 100 boundary emperors list. He's even stronger than Yin Shangyangye. I heard that Yin Shangyangye was defeated by 9 Silkworm Prince before. Many people exclaimed. 9 Silkworm Prince was very famous among the people who were pursuing the Elven Princess. The Sky Silkworm tribe was ranked 26th on the primitive 10,000 tribes list. They were ranked higher than the Sun Moon tribe and the Elven tribe. 9 Silkworm Prince was a peerless genius of the Sky Silkworm tribe. Whether it was his background or his qualifications, they were top-notch. Among the boundary emperors, there weren't many who could match him. The reason why he was ranked 49th was that many of the people above him were from the top 10 tribes. After all, the top 10 tribes were too terrifying. Their bloodline talents were heaven-defying. Apart from the top 10 tribes, there weren't many boundary emperors from the other tribes who could match him. Chapter 38:12. 9 Silkworm Prince stood in the air, his gaze landing on Lu Ming and Yin Shangyi. Yin Shangyangye, you may leave. Miyun is mine now. 9 Silkworm Prince said lightly. His voice was calm, but there was an unquestionable tone. It was as if he was ordering Yin Shangyi around, as if Yin Shangyi was his subordinate. From this, one could conclude that 9 Silkworm Prince was an extremely conceited person. Yin Shangyangye was a conceited person as well, so his face instantly darkened to a terrifying degree. Boom! He and Lu Ming exchanged a blow, and the battle stage shook. Both of them took a few steps back. 9 Silkworm, I haven't decided a winner with Mu Yun. He's mine. Yin Shangyi shouted. Humph, after so many blows, you still can't take down a 7th-level Divine Lord. How dare you continue? Get lost. 9 Silkworm Prince said coldly. 9 Silkworm, who do you think you are? What right do you have to order me around? Yin Shangyi was furious. Being reprimanded by 9 Silkworm Prince in public was an extremely embarrassing thing. His anger burned fiercely. Yin Shangyi was also a peerless monster, not much weaker than 9 Silkworm Prince. But just because you're my defeated opponent. 9 Silkworm Prince said coldly. Humph, it's been 10,000 years since our battle. It's not certain who's going to win now. Yin Shangye's eyes burned with fighting spirit. Lu Ming didn't continue. Since Yin Shangyi was going to fight 9 Silkworm Prince, he was naturally willing to be a spectator. So you want to challenge me? You overestimate yourself. Since that's the case, I'll fulfill your wish. 9 Silkworm Prince said coldly. As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful aura exploded from his body. His cultivation was also at the quasi-emperor level, but it was many times more terrifying than an ordinary quasi-emperor. His body was shrouded in a layer of hazy jade color, making him look otherworldly. 9 Silkworm Prince moved. In a flash, he charged toward Yin Shangyi. His legs swept down on Yin Shangyi. Sky Silkworm Leg, the ultimate technique of the Sky Silkworm race. Facing 9 Silkworm Prince's attack, Yin Shang and Yang Yi didn't dare to be careless. After all, he had been defeated by 9 Silkworm Prince 10,000 years ago. Yin Shang Yang Yi roared. Tian Qi revolved around him, and a giant ice palm struck out. Layers of palm imprints and layers of leg shadows collided with each other, instantly erupting into dozens of explosions. Yin Shang and Yang Yi retreated, but 9 Silkworm Prince was also sent flying. 9 Silkworm, I haven't seen you in 10,000 years. You're just so. Seeing that he had blocked 9 Silkworm Prince's attack, Yin Shangyangye's confidence increased greatly. Yin Shang, Yang Yi, you're courting death. 9 Silkworm Prince's face was incomparably gloomy. His killing intent was as sharp as a blade as a terrifying qi emerged. Whoosh! 9 Silkworm Prince charged at Yin Shang and Yang Yi again. Great shatter! 9 Silkworm Prince's leg shadows continued to envelop Yin Shang and Yang Yi. Boom! Their attacks collided once again. However, this time, Yin Shang and Yang Yi retreated rapidly after exchanging only a few moves. Everyone could see fine cracks appear on the surface of Yin Shang and Yang Yi's primordial divine body. Yin Shang and Yang Ye's primordial divine body was indestructible. After exchanging so many moves with Lu Ming hadn't been able to break through his defenses. However, 9 Silkworm Prince had broken through his defenses in just a few moves. 3,000 ancient secret arts, Great Shatter. 9 Silkworm, you've actually cultivated the Great Shatter. Yin Shang and Yang Ye roared in shock. It's the 3,000 ancient secret arts. The surrounding spectators also roared in shock. Their hearts were in turmoil, and they could not calm down. Although the power of Origin secret arts wasn't weaker than the 3,000 ancient secret arts, they were too difficult to cultivate. Severing the 9 shackles was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, the 3,000 ancient secret arts didn't have such shackles. As long as one's comprehension was high enough and had enough opportunities, they could quickly cultivate to an extremely high level and unleash terrifying power. In addition, there was a legend that the 3,000 ancient secret arts were related to a great secret. However, no one had been able to solve it after so many years. Of course, the 3,000 ancient secret arts weren't that easy to cultivate. Even if an ordinary person obtained them, they wouldn't be able to unleash their full power. However, 9 Silkworm Prince's talent was terrifying enough. The Great Shatter was already extremely powerful. It's actually the 3,000 ancient secret arts. Lu Ming's heart pounded fiercely. He hadn't thought that he'd come across another of the 3,000 ancient secret arts, the Great Divine Wind Art, just as he'd obtained one of the 3,000 ancient secret arts, the Great Shatter. He didn't know if it was a coincidence or an opportunity. A wisp of greed flashed through Lu Ming's eyes. He cultivated the forbidden physique and needed secret arts the most, not to mention the 3,000 ancient secret arts. He had already decided that he had to obtain the Great Shatter. If I hadn't spent all my energy on the 3,000 ancient secret arts, I would have broken through to the Divine Emperor realm long ago. You want to fight me? Dream on. 9 Silkworm Prince said coldly. Everyone finally understood why 9 Silkworm Prince was only evenly matched with Yin Shang Yang Yi when he hadn't used the Great Shatter. It turned out that he'd spent all his energy on the Great Shatter. However, once he mastered the Great Shatter, 9 Silkworm Prince's battle power had indeed skyrocketed. It was enough to make up for all his losses over the years. Kill! 9 Silkworm Prince shouted coldly. Dazzling light shone from his body as he charged toward Yin Shang Yang Yi. The 3,000 ancient secret arts are just an ordinary secret art. I don't believe it's that strong. Yin Shang Yang Yi roared. Cold chi surged into the sky as he unleashed all his power toward 9 Silkworm Prince. Bam! Bam! The two clashed again, exchanging 8 moves. Crack! The sound of porcelain shattering rang out as cracks appeared on Yin Shang Yang Ye's body. He retreated rapidly as ice fell from his body. Yin Shang Yang Yi spat out blood, his face pale. He was no match for 9 Silkworm Prince. He was completely suppressed. So strong. 9 Silkworm Prince's battle power is so strong. Is this the power of the 3,000 ancient secret arts? Are the 3,000 ancient secret arts that much stronger than the Origin secret arts? Many people were shocked. Many people had heard of the 3,000 ancient secret techniques, but very few had seen them. That was because many of the 3,000 ancient secret techniques had been lost. Now that they had seen them, their power was beyond imagination. It's not necessarily the 3,000 ancient secret arts. It depends on the cultivator. If one's talent and comprehension aren't good enough, they'll still be useless. 9 Silkworm Prince is strong because he's talented. 9 Silkworm Prince didn't defeat Yin Shang Yang Yi purely with the Great Shatter. He combined the Origin secret arts and the primordial divine body. Some knowledgeable people explained. Chapter 38:13. Everyone nodded. Indeed, how could the Grand Shatter art be so powerful that it could completely crush Yin Shang and Yang Yi? 9 Silkworm Prince had used all his strength when he attacked, using his Constitution secret technique and Origin secret technique to the extreme. Combined with the Grand Shatter art, he was able to defeat Yin Shang and Yang Yi. 9 Silkworm Prince charged toward Yin Shang and Yang Yi after gaining the upper hand. His legs lashed out like a storm at Yin Shang and Yang Yi, and the space cracked like tofu under such terrifying power. Yin Shang and Yang Yi roared and fought with all their might, but they couldn't change anything. Bang, bang, bang. The two clashed continuously, and the terrifying energy of the grand shatter art landed on Yin Shang and Yang Yi. Yin Shang and Yang Yi vomited blood, and his body cracked inch by inch. In the end, he couldn't maintain his primordial divine body form anymore, and he collapsed and returned to his original form. Yin Shang and Yang Yi's body was in tatters, and he was sent flying out of the arena, vomiting blood. He was severely injured. Yin Shang and Yang Yi, this is the difference between us. I lost 10,000 years ago, and I can still lose now. Let me tell you, you're not my match in this life. Also, Yue isn't someone you can pursue. If you know what's good for you, get the hell out of here. 9 Silkworm Prince stared coldly at Yin Shang and Yang Yi. Yin Shang and Yang Yi glared at 9 Silkworm Prince with an ugly expression. But he had lost, and he couldn't refute. The loser had no reason to lose. 9 Silkworm Prince ignored Yin Shang and Yang Yi, and turned to Lu Ming. Mu Yun, I'll give you a chance. With your status, you can't have any interaction with Yue, so cripple your own cultivation, and I'll spare your life. 9 Silkworm Young Master said coldly, commanding Lu Ming. In his view, sparing Lu Ming's life was already a great favor. Whether Lu Ming agreed to marry the Elven Princess or refused, he couldn't be spared. Crippling his own cultivation was already a way out for him. Hee hee. Lu Ming sneered. This guy was trying to act cool in front of him. How laughable. I'm afraid you don't have the ability. Lu Ming said indifferently. Really? You've seen what happened to Yin Shang Yangya. Don't think that you can challenge me just because you fought that piece of trash Yin Shang Yangya. Let me tell you, you're still far from enough. 9 Silkworm Prince's eyes were cold and filled with confidence. I really don't know where a quasi-emperor gets the confidence to speak to me, a 7th-level divine lord, like this. With my cultivation, if I were a quasi-emperor, I would be able to suppress him with one finger. Lu Ming laughed mockingly. You're courting death. 9 Silkworm Prince shouted coldly. Lu Ming's words hurt 9 Silkworm Prince's pride. Originally, 9 Silkworm Prince was secretly jealous of Lu Ming. Lu Ming had such combat strength at the 7th-level Divine Lord realm. He was jealous to death. Now that Lu Ming had said this, and the key point was that he was telling the truth, he was instantly enraged. 9 Silkworm Prince shouted coldly and charged at Lu Ming. His leg was like a steel whip, lashing toward Lu Ming. Wherever it passed, there would be a huge explosion in the space, bringing about destructive energy. Although he looked down on Lu Ming, his actions didn't. After all, Lu Ming had fought Yin Shang Yangye to a standstill. Therefore, he used his full strength the moment he attacked. Physique secret technique, origin secret technique, great shattering technique. This kick raised his combat strength to the peak. Suppress. Lu Ming waved his hand, and 3 gravity orbs flew out. 100% gravity erupted. The terrifying gravity pressed down on 9 Silkworm Prince. 9 Silkworm Prince's body trembled. He was greatly affected. After all, when Lu Ming fought Yin Shang Yangye, he didn't use the full power of the gravity orbs. At this moment, 100% gravity erupted. The power of the gravity was unprecedentedly strong. 9 Silkworm Prince felt that the divine power in his body seemed to be filled with mercury. It circulated more than 10 times slower, and he felt as if a dozen planets were pressing down on him. Break! 9 Silkworm Prince roared. His leg shook slightly, and the terrifying Great Shattering Technique erupted. The Great Shattering Technique was said to be able to shatter everything. Even the smallest particle could be shattered. Space instantly shattered into pieces, and even the powerful gravity began to distort. But at this moment, Lu Ming also launched an attack. His fist pierced through the void and blasted toward 9 Silkworm Prince. 9 Silkworm Prince roared. His leg shook, and he changed direction to attack Lu Ming's fist. Boom! The attacks of the two collided, causing a violent explosion. The next moment, Lu Ming retreated rapidly. He retreated a few hundred meters before he could stabilize himself. At the same time, he felt a tearing pain coming from his fist. He lowered his head and saw that his fist had been torn apart, and there were cracks all over it. However, Lu Ming's powerful recovery ability quickly healed the injury. Is this the great shattering technique? It's so powerful! Lu Ming was shocked. In the collision just now, Lu Ming felt that a terrifying power had erupted from 9 Silkworm Prince's side. This power directly shattered his various secret techniques, even the forbidden power, and was about to shatter his fist. Even the forbidden power couldn't block it. It was obvious how terrifying this power was. Of course, it wasn't that the forbidden power wasn't strong enough. It was just that Lu Ming's current cultivation was still weak. He was only a 7th-level Divine Lord. If Lu Ming was at the Quasi-Emperor realm, the same level as 9 Silkworm Prince, the forbidden power would definitely be able to crush 9 Silkworm Prince. While he was shocked, Lu Ming's heart was also burning with desire. He wanted to obtain the Great Shattering Technique even more. This way, he could increase his combat strength. Everything will shatter under the Great Shattering Technique. What can mere gravity do to me? Break for me! 9 Silkworm Prince roared and used all his strength to activate the Great Shattering Technique. Together with his Constitution Secret Technique and Origin Secret Technique, the power was boundless. He broke through the gravity and charged at Lu Ming. You think there are only 3,000 ancient secret techniques? Lu Ming sneered. At this moment he no longer held back and used the Great Divine Wind Technique. In an instant, a whirlwind wrapped around Lu Ming's palm. This was the power of the Great Divine Wind Technique. It was filled with terrifying cutting and destructive power. Boom! Lu Ming punched out with both fists and collided with 9 Silkworm Prince's leg technique once again. After a series of explosions, this time, the two figures retreated at the same time. Lu Ming and 9 Silkworm Prince retreated more than a dozen steps before regaining their footing. 3,000 ancient secret techniques. How can he know the 3,000 ancient secret techniques? 9 Silkworm Prince's shocked and sharp voice suddenly rang out. It was filled with shock, disbelief, and anger. How could a mere Lu Ming cultivate the 3,000 ancient secret techniques? The scene was also in an uproar. Everyone looked at Lu Ming, tongue-tied. Chapter 38:14. Everyone was flabbergasted and dumbfounded. Lu Ming had also grasped one of the 3,000 ancient secret techniques. All this while, Lu Ming still had a trump card. How could a 7th-level Divine Lord be so strong? Kid, which one of the 3,000 ancient secret techniques is that? 9 Silkworm Prince stared at Lu Ming. Great Divine Wind Technique. Lu Ming said. Great Divine Wind Technique. 9 Silkworm Prince's eyes were burning as he stared at Lu Ming. Kid, give me the Great Divine Wind Technique. As long as you kneel down and admit defeat, I can waive the condition of crippling my own cultivation. Ha! Lu Ming sneered. He could only sneer. This 9 Silkworm Prince was probably used to being superior since young. Although his cultivation talent was high, his IQ wasn't high. Seeing that he had already used the Great Divine Wind Technique, he was still so confident as if he could defeat Lu Ming. Where did his confidence come from? What are you laughing at? 9 Silkworm Prince felt Lu Ming's mockery, and his eyes turned cold. What are you laughing at? You're laughing too self-righteously. Tell me in my eyes, you're nothing. Do you understand? Lu Ming said. You're courting death. 9 Silkworm Prince shouted. This sentence again. Can't you change it? How about this? If you want the Great Divine Wind Technique, I'll give you a chance. Let's make a bet. How about it? Lu Ming said. What bet? 9 Silkworm Prince said. Let's bet on who wins and who loses. The loser has to give the 3,000 ancient secret techniques to the winner. If I lose, I'll give you the Great Divine Wind Technique. If I lose, you'll give me the Great Divine Wind Technique. How about that? Lu Ming voiced out the purpose in his heart. I won't lose. 9 Silkworm Prince was still very confident. If you say that, then it's meaningless. Let's not fight this battle. Goodbye. Lu Ming turned and was about to leave. Wait. 9 Silkworm Prince shouted. How could he let Lu Ming leave? He was determined to get the Great Divine Wind Technique. Do you want to bet? Lu Ming stopped and turned around. Alright, I'll make a bet. Whoever loses will hand over the 3,000 ancient secret arts. 9 Silkworm said. The people around him immediately cheered up. Lu Ming and 9 Silkworm Prince actually wanted to bet the 3,000 ancient secret arts. In that case, the two of them would definitely go all out. This battle would be very interesting to watch. Moreover, there would be a clash of ancient secret arts, which was extremely rare. Boom! Lu Ming and 9 Silkworm Prince stood on the battle stage. Powerful qi exploded from their bodies and collided with each other. Lu Ming waved his hand and continued to control the gravity pearls. The gravity of the 3 gravity pearls erupted, and the terrifying gravity pressed down on 9 Silkworm Buddha Prince. The power of the 3 gravity pearls was extremely terrifying. Even if it was a monarch-grade divine artifact, it would be crushed instantly. 9 Silkworm Prince was also greatly affected. He went all out, using the great art of fragmentation as the edge to break through the gravity and clash with Lu Ming. Lu Ming also used the Great Divine Wind technique. With the Great Divine Wind technique as the core, he used various secret arts to attack 9 Silkworm Prince. Boom, boom, boom. The two of them fiercely exchanged dozens of blows. Lu Ming went all out and used the Great Divine Wind technique to finally block 9 Silkworm Prince's attack. For a moment, the two of them were evenly matched. Amazing! I didn't expect Mu Yun's Great Divine Wind technique to be cultivated to such a level. What terrifying power! This Mu Yun looks very young. According to his life origin, he doesn't seem to be more than 10,000 years old. It's a miracle that he's so terrifying at such a young age. This talent is amazing. Many people sighed. The 3,000 ancient secret arts were rare, but the primitive universe was so big that there would be people who would obtain them. However, obtaining them was one thing, and cultivating them was another. In fact, many people who obtained the 3,000 ancient secret arts tried their best to cultivate them, but in the end, they failed and went back to cultivate the origin secret arts. Techniques were good techniques, but it also depended on the person who used them. However, what they didn't know was that Lu Ming had only cultivated the Great Divine Wind technique for a little more than a year. If they knew, their eyeballs would probably pop out. Lu Ming had cultivated to such a level in a little more than a year. When he erupted, he wasn't any weaker than 9 Silkworm Prince's great art of fragmentation. Of course, this had to do with his talent and comprehension. Ever since he merged with the forbidden power and became a forbidden body, Lu Ming found that his comprehension was getting more and more terrifying. It seemed to be constantly improving. No wonder the forbidden body was called a taboo, and even the heavenly palace was afraid of it. It wasn't without reason. Now that Lu Ming was cultivating ordinary mystic skills, he would be able to succeed easily. In addition, the environment was full of strong winds. Cultivating the Great Divine Wind technique complemented each other and was faster. As a result, Lu Ming cultivated it for more than a year, but its power was comparable to 9 Silkworm Princes for 10,000 years. The two exchanged dozens of blows, and they were evenly matched. 9 Silkworm Prince was a little impatient. One had to know that his purpose here was to suppress Lu Ming. Countless people were watching, and even Ling Yue was watching. But now, he couldn't take down Lu Ming. His anger soared. Die, brat! 9 Silkworm Prince roared, and his attacks became even more violent. Unfortunately, under the suppression of gravity, he couldn't use his full strength and couldn't defeat Lu Ming. 9 Silkworm Prince, I heard that the great art of fragmentation that you've cultivated for 10,000 years is only this powerful? How laughable! You call yourself a genius. Let me tell you, I've only cultivated the Great Divine Wind technique for a year. 3,000 ancient secret arts, such an easy secret art to cultivate, actually took 10,000 years to cultivate. How embarrassing! Lu Ming laughed. More than a year? Everyone who heard this was stunned at first, but then they shook their heads. They didn't believe it at all. How could he cultivate the Great Divine Wind technique to this level in a year? How was that possible? Nonsense! 9 Silkworm Prince roared. He didn't believe it at all. If Lu Ming cultivated the Great Divine Wind technique to this level in a year, then what was he? Trash? No, he was even worse than trash. He couldn't accept it. You're trash, so you don't want to accept the excellence of others. How sad. Lu Ming said proudly. Impossible. Don't think of using such a method to disturb my state of mind. 9 Silkworm Prince roared. The others nodded, thinking that Lu Ming said that on purpose to disturb 9 Silkworm Prince's state of mind and make him reveal a flaw. They guessed right. Lu Ming did want to make 9 Silkworm Prince reveal a flaw, but what he said was the truth. Of course, no one would believe it. 9 Silkworm, is this your strength? What are you using to suppress me? If this continues, I'm going to lose. Lu Ming continued. Die. 9 Silkworm Prince roared. His state of mind was indeed a little chaotic. Chapter 38:15. First of all, 9 Silkworm Prince had been full of confidence, as if he could suppress Lu Ming with a flip of his hand. But now, he couldn't even gain the upper hand. He was anxious. Also, Lu Ming said that he had cultivated the Great Divine Wind technique to such a level in a year. Although he didn't believe it, there was no doubt that Lu Ming had cultivated the Great Divine Wind technique in a shorter time than him. To him, it had more or less affected him. Therefore, his mental state was a little chaotic, and he wanted to suppress Lu Ming as soon as possible. Once his mental state was in a mess, he would naturally have an opening. 9 Silkworm Prince's body glowed, and a jade sword flew out from between his eyebrows and slashed at the gravity orb. The gravity of the gravity orb was very uncomfortable for him, and he wanted to break through the pressure. Clang. The jade sword slashed at the gravity orb, and there was a loud boom. Unfortunately, the gravity orb was indestructible and couldn't be broken. It only retreated a little, and the gravity was still strong. Now! Lu Ming's eyes flashed as he caught 9 Silkworm Prince's opening. Lu Ming's figure suddenly changed, and like a phantom, he charged at 9 Silkworm Prince, his speed suddenly increasing. Since the Great Divine Wind technique was related to wind, it could not only increase Lu Ming's attack power, but also increase Lu Ming's speed. Whoosh, whoosh. Lu Ming appeared on 9 Silkworm Prince's left side, and his palm was like a sword, stabbing 36 times in an instant, all aimed at 9 Silkworm Prince's 3 openings. Everything happened in the time it took for a spark to fly off a piece of flint. It was too fast, so fast that many people couldn't react in time. 9 Silkworm Prince was worthy of being a peerless genius. He instantly changed his figure, and his leg kicked out like a gust of wind. At the same time, his palm was like a saber, slashing at Lu Ming's neck. This way, 2 of the 3 openings disappeared, and he made up for them. But there was still one more. Lu Ming's palm pierced 9 Silkworm Prince's chest. The terrifying power instantly tore apart 9 Silkworm Prince's defenses, and his muscles and bones were torn apart by the terrifying power. A bloody hole appeared in his chest, and it was penetrating from front to back. 9 Silkworm Prince screamed, and his body frantically retreated. At the same time, he circulated his divine power to seal the wound, and wanted to counterattack. But how would Lu Ming give him such a chance? After injuring 9 Silkworm Prince in one move and gaining the upper hand, 9 Silkworm Prince's fate was already sealed. Lu Ming's attacks were endless. His attacks filled the entire sky. Bang, bang. 9 Silkworm Prince was hit continuously. Although he was powerful, he could not withstand Lu Ming's attacks. A few more wounds appeared on his body. In particular, one of Lu Ming's moves had hit his head, almost causing his head to explode. His 9 Silkworm Princesses' secret was of his body, his soul. 9 his souls, his. His soul was greatly shaken, causing him to be dazed for a moment, and stars appeared before his eyes. 9 Silkworm Prince knew he was in trouble. He roared and launched an all-encompassing attack, using both his hands and legs to force Lu Ming back. But Lu Ming easily dodged his attacks and appeared above 9 Silkworm Prince's head. He ruthlessly kicked 9 Silkworm Prince's face, sending him flying. 9 Silkworm Prince's body flew out of the stage like a broken sack. He lay on the ground, groaning for a long time before crawling up and looking at Lu Ming with murderous intent. 9 Silkworm Prince, you've lost. Hand over the Grand Shatter Art. Lu Ming said. Hand over the Grand Shatter Art? Don't even think about it. Kid, A mere disciple of the Fengdu sword sect dares to steal my grand shatter art. I'll die. Not only that, but I'll also destroy the Fengdu sword sect. 9 Silkworm Prince screamed hysterically. His face was distorted, and his eyes were filled with crazed murderous intent. He was really going crazy. His anger soared to the sky. He had lost to Lu Ming. He couldn't accept it. One had to know that there were countless people watching through the illusory heavenly jade, especially fairy princess Ling Yue. It was very likely that she was also watching. He had lost all face. When he thought of this, he couldn't wait to cut Lu Ming into 8 pieces and execute Lu Ming. He hated Lu Ming. Why did he resist? Why did he not allow him to suppress him obediently and allow him to boast? This is the genius ranked 49th on the quasi-emperor ranking list, the peerless monster of the heavenly silkworm race? Such a trash, going back on his words and going back on his words after losing. Lu Ming sneered. Shut up, you despicable thing. Shut up. 9 Silkworm Prince roared. Lu Ming naturally wouldn't shut up. He continued, just now, you said you wanted to send people to destroy my sect? You want to destroy the Feng City Sword sect? Everyone, brothers and sisters in the universe, you've all seen it. This is what 9 Silkworm said. He wants to rely on the heavenly silkworm race to destroy the Feng City Sword sect. If something happens to the Feng City Sword sect, it must be done by the heavenly silkworm race. You must uphold justice, and the heavenly palace must uphold justice. Lu Ming shouted. Everyone looked at each other. Bastard. Some experts of the heavenly silkworm race also watched through the illusory heavenly jade. They couldn't help but curse. They scolded 9 Silkworm and Lu Ming. 9 Silkworm had lost, but he actually talked nonsense and went back on his words in public. He even wanted to take revenge. It was really embarrassing. And Lu Ming said that nothing could happen to the Feng City Sword sect in the future. Once something happened, it would be blamed on the heavenly silkworm race. Although the heavenly silkworm race didn't take the Feng City Sword sect seriously, if they really destroyed the Feng City Sword sect, their reputation would be ruined. Who would cooperate with them in the future? Not only that, their enemies would also use this as an excuse to attack them. After Lu Ming said that, the heavenly silkworm race not only couldn't touch the Feng City Sword sect, but also had to prevent others from touching the Feng City Sword sect. Otherwise, they would also have to send people to protect the Feng City Sword sect secretly. No wonder some experts of the heavenly silkworm race were cursing. 9 Silkworm Prince also slowly calmed down. He knew that it was impossible to destroy the Feng City Sword sect, but killing Lu Ming was possible. He just had to do it secretly. The murderous intent in his heart was incomparably cold. He stared at Lu Ming fiercely, like a wild beast choosing a human to devour. He must kill Lu Ming. Today he had embarrassed him so much. It was unforgivable. 9 Silkworm, why aren't you handing over the great art of fragmentation? The heavenly silkworm race is also considered a big race. Is this the kind of person who goes back on his words? Lu Ming stared at 9 Silkworm Prince. I won't hand it over. What can you do to me? What can you do to me? 9 Silkworm Prince sneered. He might as well go all out. After all, he had already embarrassed himself. If he didn't embarrass himself a little more, he wouldn't hand it over. The great art of fragmentation was something he had painstakingly obtained. Hand it over to Lu Ming? He would probably vomit blood. Chapter 38:16. 9 Silkworm Prince looked at Lu Ming arrogantly. He was a peerless monster of the heavenly silkworm race. Now that everyone was watching, he didn't believe that Lu Ming would dare to do anything to him. Bastard! Many former experts of the heavenly silkworm race cursed. 9 Silkworm had truly disgraced the heavenly silkworm race. On a distant and remote planet, the elf princess Ling Yue, wandering spirit, and the others also saw all of this. This Jianghu is really shameless, really shameless. Someone like him actually wants to pursue the young lady. He's really out of his league. Compared to Jianghu, that Mu Yun is much more pleasing to the eye. Yu Ling pouted angrily. Some people come from good backgrounds, but their character is not necessarily good. Ling Yue said. Yu Ling nodded repeatedly. Some people came from good families and were pampered since young. They could get whatever they wanted. No one would go against their wishes. Then, when they grew up, it would be the same. Even if his talent was astonishing, once he encountered a setback or encountered someone who went against his will, he would not be able to take it. His retarded face would be revealed without a doubt. 9 Silkworm Prince was clearly such a person. He had outstanding talent since he was young and had been nurtured by the heavenly Silkworm clan. It could be said that he could get whatever he wanted. It had also nurtured his self-confidence and character to do as he pleased. In the face of a stronger race, perhaps he would restrain himself a little, but in the face of a weaker race, his personality would undoubtedly reveal itself. What's more, facing Lu Ming, who was an incomparably despicable piece of trash in his heart, he was filled with a sense of superiority. But in the end he was defeated by Lu Ming. He found it hard to accept, and his ugly side was revealed without a doubt. Lu Ming was so angry that he wanted to laugh. "So, you don't intend to hand it over? Very well, if you don't hand it over, then I'll take it myself." After Lu Ming finished speaking, he stepped into the air and charged towards 9 Silkworm Prince. "Mu Yun, how dare you? I'm a peerless genius of the heavenly silkworm race. How dare you touch me?" 9 Silkworm roared. "There's nothing I don't dare to do." Lu Ming sneered. He sped up, turning into a phantom as he charged at 9 Silkworm Prince. In the blink of an eye, he was above 9 Silkworm Prince's head. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch. The violent fist force was like a storm, shrouding 9 Silkworm Prince. 9 Silkworm Prince was shocked. He didn't think that Lu Ming would really dare to attack him. At the critical moment, he resisted with all his might. However, he had just been seriously injured by Lu Ming and simply wasn't a match for Lu Ming. His attack had been defeated by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's fist smashed into the 9 Silkworm Prince's face. 9 Silkworm Prince let out a miserable shriek. His handsome face was completely smashed, and his body flew out. The people in front hurriedly left. Before 9 Silkworm Prince could stop, Lu Ming had already caught up to him and stepped on him. "Hand over Grand Shatter," Lu Ming said coldly. "Don't even think about it, you bastard. How dare you treat me like this? I want you to die. I want you to die a horrible death," Princess 9 Silkworm roared madly. He was completely crazy, his eyes blood red. He was sure that Lu Ming would at most injure him and wouldn't dare to touch him. As long as he escaped, he would madly seek revenge. As for handing over Grand Shatter, it was impossible. "You're courting death." Lu Ming's eyes turned completely cold. Did 9 Silkworm Prince really think that he wouldn't dare to touch him? At most, after killing him, he would leave the Fengdu sword sect and find another place to find a new identity. At most, it would take some effort and time. Lu Ming's body emitted a strong murderous intent. A long spear condensed in his hand. Blood splattered everywhere. Lu Ming's long spear directly pierced through 9 Silkworm Prince's legs, nailing them to the ground. 9 Silkworm Prince screamed, his body twitching non-stop. Although he would be able to recover even if his body was torn apart at his level, the pain wouldn't diminish. The surrounding people gasped in shock. Mu Yun was really daring to treat 9 Silkworm Prince like this. Although 9 Silkworm Prince was a little shameless and didn't keep his word, Lu Ming dealing with 9 Silkworm Prince was reasonable. No one could say anything. But 9 Silkworm Prince was a top monster of the Sky Silkworm race. Wasn't he afraid of the Sky Silkworm race's revenge? Although the Sky Silkworm race wouldn't openly attack the Fengdu sword sect, nor would they send people to deal with Lu Ming, secretly sending an expert to kill Lu Ming, or disguise as Lu Ming dying from qi deviation. It wouldn't be difficult. It could only be said that Lu Ming was very daring. "Bastard, I want you dead. I'm going to kill you." 9 Silkworm Prince screamed crazily. Bam! Lu Ming grabbed 9 Silkworm Prince's head and slammed it into the ground. The ground here was set up with a powerful formation, so it was very hard. But 9 Silkworm Prince's head still smashed a big hole in the ground. Bam! 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 Lu Ming didn't stop. He grabbed 9 Silkworm Prince and slammed him into the ground repeatedly. Many people felt their teeth hurt, and a chill ran down their spines. As for 9 Silkworm Prince, it was too horrible to look at. He was soon unrecognizable. But Nine Silkworm Prince still gritted his teeth, his eyes full of resentment. Stubborn. Do you really think I won't kill you? Since you won't hand it over, I'll send you on your way. Lu Ming's body was filled with cold killing intent. He condensed a long spear in his hand again. This time, Lu Ming stabbed at Nine Silkworm Prince's dantian. Poof! The long spear pierced into Nine Silkworm Prince's dantian and pierced his stellar core. At the quasi-emperor level, the stellar core would have 9 stellar rings revolving around it. It had already begun to merge and was showing signs of transforming into a star. After being hit by the long spear, Nine Silkworm Prince's stellar rings trembled and dimmed a lot. Even his stellar core shook violently. With a few cracking sounds, a few cracks appeared on his stellar core. With his stellar core severely damaged, Nine Silkworm Prince spat out mouthfuls of blood. He stared at Lu Ming in disbelief. The resentment in his eyes receded and was finally replaced by fear. Lu Ming actually wanted to destroy his stellar core. Destroying his stellar core was no different from killing him. He had never imagined that Lu Ming would actually have the guts to do so. He was a peerless genius of the heavenly silkworm race. He was high and mighty, with countless heavenly silkworm race experts behind him. Lu Ming, a mere disciple of the Fengdu sword sect, dared to touch him? He didn't believe it before, but now he had to because Lu Ming really did make a move. The murderous intent emitted from his body made him shiver all over. At this moment, the scene was also silent. Obviously, no one had expected Lu Ming to be so audacious. Sect leader Wang and the others from the Fengdu sword sect were pale. If Lu Ming really destroyed or killed Nine Silkworm Prince, the Fengdu sword sect would be under a lot of pressure. Next move, I will completely destroy your stellar core. Lu Ming said coldly. The cold, murderous intent made Nine Silkworm Prince feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. He didn't doubt that Lu Ming's next move would really destroy him. I'll hand it over. I'll hand over the great shattering art to you. Nine Silkworm Prince shouted in horror. Chapter 38:17. Nine Silkworm Prince screamed in horror. Hand it over. Lu Ming stopped. Nine Silkworm Prince gritted his teeth. He had no choice but to hand over the great fragmentation art. A jade talisman flew out from between his eyebrows and was caught by Lu Ming. Lu Ming scanned it with his spiritual consciousness and found that the jade talisman recorded the great fragmentation art. Lu Ming was overjoyed and put it in his storage ring. Many people were envious. Get lost. Lu Ming kicked Nine Silkworm Prince away but didn't kill him. After all, there were so many people watching and it was being broadcasted through the dreamy heavenly jade. If he killed Nine Silkworm Prince in front of everyone, he might provoke the old monsters of the heavenly silkworm race to deal with him. If he didn't kill Nine Silkworm Prince, those old monsters of the heavenly silkworm race would be too embarrassed to do anything. Lu Ming wasn't strong enough, so he had to be careful. If he was strong enough, he could kill Nine Silkworm Prince. What could the heavenly silkworm race do to him? Damn it! Damn it! Nine Silkworm Prince screamed in his heart. His body seemed to be burning with anger, but he didn't dare to stay. He used his remaining strength and ran away. No one else wants to fight? Lu Ming scanned the surroundings and continued asking. No one dared to answer. Even Nine Silkworm Prince, who was ranked 49th on the Quasi-Emperor's top 100 list, had been defeated. Who else would dare to fight? This time, Nine Silkworm Prince was the strongest among those who had come to the Iron Sea Star Zone. The other Quasi-Emperor geniuses who were even stronger were either geniuses from the top 10 races, cultivating, or traveling. No one had come. After a while, no one came out to fight. Since no one dares to fight, all of you can get lost. Lu Ming scolded coldly and turned to leave. The geniuses present all looked terrible, but no one dared to fight. In the end, they all left. Not long after, Lu Ming returned to his residence. Once he was back, Lu Ming took out the jade talisman that recorded the great fragmentation art and read it. A day later, Lu Ming completely memorized the great fragmentation technique in his heart. This was the true great fragmentation technique. There was absolutely no mistake. Lu Ming had cultivated the great divine wind technique, so it was easy for him to determine. However, it wasn't that easy to cultivate it. Even with 9 Silkworm Prince's talent, it took him 10,000 years to make some progress. No matter how heaven-defying his talent was, it was not something that could be successfully cultivated in a short period of time. Of course, if there was an environment suitable for cultivating the Great Fragmentation technique, it could greatly shorten the time. It was just like cultivating the Great Divine Wind technique. In just over a year's time, he had made some small achievements. Lu Ming wanted to start cultivating immediately, but this place was no longer suitable. That 9 Silkworm Prince was beaten so badly by me, and I even stole the art of fragmentation. I'm afraid he'll take revenge. Lu Ming began to ponder. He wasn't afraid of 9 Silkworm Prince, but he was afraid that 9 Silkworm Prince would bring experts from the heavenly silkworm race to deal with him in secret. Therefore, he planned to leave the Fengdu Sword sect first, and wait for the Heavenly Palace to recruit heavenly soldiers before returning to the Fengdu Sword sect to participate in the recruitment as a disciple of the Fengdu Sword sect. Thinking of this, Lu Ming wanted to move immediately. But at this moment, Lu Ming's eyes flashed, and he looked in a direction. The space in that direction began to ripple like water. Then, a figure appeared. Even with Lu Ming's mind, there was a brief moment of absent-mindedness. Because this was a woman, and an astonishingly beautiful woman at that. The woman had a long figure and wore an emerald green dress, like a spirit of all things. This woman was really from the elf tribe. From her pointed ears, it could be seen that she was very similar to the Yu Ling that he had seen some time ago. The Yu Ling was already very beautiful, but compared to this woman, she was overshadowed. If the Yu Ling and this woman stood together, other people's eyes would definitely fall on this woman and ignore the Yu Ling. The woman stepped on the air and walked toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly, staring at the woman, and did not speak. "You are Mu Yun?" The beautiful woman of the elf tribe stood 100 meters in front of Lu Ming and asked. Her voice was extremely pleasant to hear, making people feel as if they were bathed in a spring breeze. Even a person who was in a bad mood would calm down when they heard this voice. "Elf princess?" Lu Ming nodded silently and then asked. With such a temperament, Lu Ming speculated that the other party was the elf princess Ling Yue. "That's right." Ling Yue nodded and carefully sized up Lu Ming, as if she wanted to see through Lu Ming. But unfortunately, she couldn't get what she wanted. In her eyes, Lu Ming seemed to be wrapped in a layer of fog, unfathomable. "Do you really want me to marry you?" Lu Ming asked. To be honest, when he first heard that the elf princess wanted to marry him, his first reaction was that the elf princess was very ugly. Otherwise, why would she take the initiative to find someone to marry? It wasn't until the geniuses of various races were envious and wanted to challenge him that he realized that he was wrong. When he saw the other party's true appearance, he knew that he was ridiculously wrong. For someone like the elf princess, her talent, appearance, and background were all top-notch. It was likely that the number of people pursuing her could line up around Fengdu planet. Therefore, he was even more curious. Why did the elf princess want to marry him? Did she take a fancy to his talent? Or to fulfill the engagement? In any case, Lu Ming didn't believe it. "I've already asked Wandering Spirit to explain it to you very clearly." The elf princess Ling Yue said. "Wandering Spirit said that you want to fulfill the engagement with me? Do you think I would believe such a reason? If you want to fulfill the engagement, why did you do it earlier? You're only here now?" Lu Ming said, his tone full of suspicion. "I've never seen you before, but I've seen you make a move on the Resource Alliance. Your talent is very high, and you're worthy of me. Is this reason enough?" Ling Yue said. A pair of eyes that were as bright as autumn water blinked, as if they could speak. If other men heard Ling Yue's words, their vanity would explode. They would be so excited that they wouldn't be able to control themselves. They would probably agree without thinking. If he didn't agree, he would be a fool. Lu Ming was obviously not an idiot, but he still didn't agree. In the great desolate universe, there are countless geniuses, monsters, and innumerable talents. I'm afraid there are many who are pursuing you. What you're saying is more like lying to a child." Lu Ming said indifferently. There was no such thing as a pie falling from the sky. Moreover, this was no longer a pie falling from the sky, but a drop of gold and silver. It was obvious that something was wrong. If it was because of his charm, he could still believe it. You're really smart. Ling Yue sighed and said, to tell you the truth, my father wants me to marry a genius of the angel race and form a marriage alliance with the angel race to increase the influence of the elf race in the universe. However, that genius of the angel race has a bad character, so I don't want it. But the angel race is no small matter, and it's very difficult to refuse. However, as long as I get married before that, and marry someone who has been arranged to marry me, the angel race will have nothing to say. Chapter 38:18. Oh. Lu Ming responded with an oh. The reason given by Ling Yue was somewhat credible and could be justified. Of course, my marriage to you is not a real marriage, but a fake one. After all, there are no feelings between us. What do you think? Ling Yue said. What do you think? Of course it was to refuse. Lu Ming didn't even agree to a real marriage and he still wanted to fake it? How could he agree? Moreover, if he agreed to Ling Yue's request, he would have to offend that genius from the angel clan. You can think about it. Although we are fake married, it is because we do not know each other and do not understand each other. As we get to know each other better in the future, it is not impossible for it to become real. Ling Yue's gaze was like water, like a deep pool, causing people to sink into it. If it was an ordinary man, it would definitely be difficult for him to refuse such a condition. Even Lu Ming's heart thumped a few times. Ling Yue's charm was not just for show. Sorry, I already have a sweetheart. Please go back. Lu Ming said. You have a sweetheart? Really? Ling Yue's eyes, which were like autumn water, were slightly stunned. With a fiancée like her, how could Lu Ming like anyone else? And he would reject her because of others? The more she looked at Lu Ming, the more she felt that it was difficult to see through Lu Ming. It was a miracle that such a person could appear in a small Fengdu sword sect. At the same time, Ling Yue felt that her confidence had been dealt a blow for the first time. She had taken the initiative to marry a man, and the two of them were even engaged. She had never thought that the other party would reject her. She was very confident in herself. That was why she had only sent a wandering spirit to pass on the message last time. She didn't expect that Lu Ming would directly reject her. Later on, he even defeated the geniuses of various races who came to challenge him, displaying his terrifying strength and talent. In her opinion, even if it was a fake marriage, no one should be able to reject her if she gave them hope. However, she was still rejected. She was getting anxious. You really don't agree? Ling Yue couldn't help but ask again. Of course, I'll say it again. I already have someone in my heart. Moreover, if I agree to your request, I'll have to offend a prodigy of the angel race. It's not worth it. Lu Ming refused again. He did not say that he had a wife because he was now Mu Yun of Fengdu sword sect. Mu Yun did not have a wife. If he said that, he would be exposed. As for his sweetheart, that was easy to say. Who didn't have a few sweethearts? You? Ling Yue was a little angry. She used all her strength to scrape Lu Ming's eyes a few times, then said, all right, I'll tell you the truth. I want to marry you. Avoiding the geniuses of the angel clan is one reason, and the other reason is because of the life spirit origin stone fragments. What? Lu Ming's pupils constricted when he heard about the fragments of the natal spirit stone. His body emitted a powerful aura and killing intent. Being provoked by Lu Ming's killing intent, Ling Yue was shocked and instinctively retreated a distance. You have life spirit vitality stone fragments? Lu Ming stared at Ling Yue and asked. At the same time, his muscles trembled slightly as he prepared for a great battle. That's right, I have life spirit origin stone fragments. Unexpectedly, Ling Yue directly nodded and admitted it. No wonder you want to marry me. Your real goal is the life spirit origin stone fragments, right? You want to kill me while I'm unprepared and take away the life spirit origin stone fragments on me, right? Lu Ming said coldly as killing intent emerged from his body. You're wrong. Ling Yue said. I'm wrong? Lu Ming asked. Yes, you're wrong. Do you think that the owners of the life spirit origin stone fragments will fight to the death the moment they meet? You want to snatch the other party's life spirit origin stone fragments? Ling Yue said. Isn't that so? Lu Ming asked again. This was what the stone spirit of the life spirit origin stone fragments had told him. The owners of the life spirit origin stone fragments were destined to be enemies. The moment they met, they would have to fight to the death and snatch the other party's life spirit origin stone fragments. When all the life spirit origin stone fragments were gathered, one would be able to obtain a great opportunity and become the overlord of the universe. This point could be learned from Murong Qiushui in the past. When Murong Qiushui saw him, he wanted to kill him and take away his life spirit origin stone fragments. Of course not. Actually, the owners of the life spirit origin stone fragments don't have to fight to the death. They can cooperate, Ling Yuwei said. Cooperation? That's right. Did you hear the news from Shiling? Ling Yuwei said. That's right. Could it be that what the stone spirit said was false? Lu Ming said. Some of it is true, but some of it is false. The stone spirits have their own selfish motives. As long as they activate all the fragments and swallow all the stone spirits, they will become very powerful and become a complete life spirit stone. Naturally, they will instigate the owners of all the life spirit origin stone fragments to kill each other. If you don't believe me, you can ask the life spirit origin stone spirit. Ling Yuwei said. A cold glint flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. From the very beginning, he had felt that the old fellow was very cunning. In the beginning, he pretended to be an array spirit to deceive them. Lu Ming had never fully believed him. Old fellow, get out here. Lu Ming secretly shouted at the life spirit origin stone spirit. The life spirit origin stone fragments were also carried by his current body. His past self had cultivated all kinds of divine powers, and it was best for him to cultivate peacefully on the Dragon Clan's mother planet. His present self had to travel the universe, and only by bringing these treasures with him would he have a chance to uncover the secrets. With a flash of light, the life spirit origin stone spirit appeared. Lu Muyun, don't listen to this girl's nonsense. She's lying to you. What I said is true. You have to believe me. The life spirit origin stone spirit cried out as if it had suffered a great grievance. After I obtained the life spirit origin stone fragments, I was fooled by the stone spirit at first. In the end, I checked a lot of information and found some information. If you don't believe me, I can show you a portion of the information. Once you see it, you'll know whether it's true or not. Ling Yuwei said with a very confident expression. Old fellow, tell the truth. Lu Ming stared coldly at the life spirit origin stone spirit. What I said is true. The stone spirit shouted again. It's not too late for you to tell me the truth now. If I find out that you're lying later, I'll destroy you. You should know that I can do it now. Lu Ming's eyes flickered with cold, killing intent. Chapter 38:19. After Shiling finished speaking, he looked nervously at Lu Ming, afraid that Lu Ming would attack him. He had always been by Lu Ming's side, so he knew how terrifying Lu Ming was. The taboo power could definitely obliterate him. This old fellow, Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold light. This old fellow was indeed lying to him. There's one thing he's right about. The more fragments you gather, the more benefits you can obtain, but it's not certain. Ling Yuwei said. Look, I'm not wrong. Shiling seized the opportunity to shout. Get. Lu Ming hollered. The stone spirit hurriedly flashed and returned to the life soul essence stone fragments. It seems that you know very little about the life spirit origin stone. Ling Yuwei said. Indeed, very little. You know a lot? Then tell me, what is the origin of the life spirit origin stone? Is it really as shocking as Shiling said? Lu Ming said. Shiling didn't lie to you about this. The origin of the life spirit origin stone is indeed shocking, and even more shocking than what he said. Do you know about the life spirit heavenly court? Ling Yuwei asked in return. Life spirit heavenly court? What does it have to do with the heavenly palace? Lu Ming asked doubtfully. The heavenly palace knew that the life spirit heavenly court was not listening at all. You should know that the primitive universe is divided into two eras. The first era is the era of the incipient god. A group of primitive gods were born at the beginning of the world. They were incomparably powerful and ruled the primitive universe. The second era is the era of the heavenly palace. At the end of the era of the incipient god, the heavenly palace killed the primitive gods, thus ending the era of the incipient god and opening the era of the heavenly palace. These two eras should not be ruled by the primitive gods and the heavenly palace. In these two eras, the primitive gods and the heavenly palace were supreme. But in fact, during this process, there were some terrifying forces that could even challenge the authority of these two. The life-spirit heavenly court was a terrifying force that appeared at the beginning of the era of the heavenly palace. This force was hostile to the heavenly palace and was called the heavenly court. It was extremely powerful. Ling Yue said a lot in one breath. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. This was really unexpected. He had always thought that the heavenly palace was supreme and that no force could rival it. Even the top 10 races had to behave themselves in front of the heavenly palace. As powerful as the dragon clan was, they were still easily exterminated. In history, there was actually a power that could challenge the authority of the heavenly palace, and they were called the heavenly court. From this name alone, one could see how imposing they were. Such a powerful force actually appeared in history? Lu Ming muttered to himself, still in shock. It's very normal. In all the powerful races, there are such records. In history, there were more than one power that challenged the authority of the heavenly palace. One must know that in the beginning, there were 9 great heavenly palaces, but now, there are only 5 great heavenly palaces left. From this, one can tell how terrifying those powers are. Ling Yue said. Lu Ming's heart trembled violently once again. He didn't expect that there would only be 5 of the 9 heavenly palaces left. Where did those 4 go? Had they been destroyed? Only a powerful race like the Elf clan would know these secrets. Lu Ming had never heard of them before. It seemed that there were more secrets hidden in the great desolate universe than he had imagined. It was just that he had never been able to come into contact with them before. What about the life-spirit heavenly court? Was it destroyed by the heavenly palace? Lu Ming asked. It's hard to say. Ling Yue frowned slightly and said, the information I found is also very limited. I didn't specify whether the life-spirit heavenly court was destroyed by the heavenly palace. However, the life-spirit heavenly court has indeed disappeared. Even one of the 4 great treasures of the life-spirit heavenly court, the life-spirit origin stone, has been shattered. Therefore, many people speculate that the life-spirit heavenly court should have been destroyed by the heavenly palace. One of the 4 great treasures of the life-spirit heavenly court? Lu Ming grasped the main point. That's right. Legend has it that the life-spirit heavenly court has 4 great treasures. Each of them has the power to shock the heavens and make ghosts and gods weep. As long as you obtain one of them, you can become a universe overlord. Ling Yue said. Look, I'm not wrong. As long as you gather all the fragments of the life-spirit origin stone, you can become a universe overlord. The life-spirit origin stone seized the opportunity to shout. Shut up. Lu Ming shouted coldly with his spiritual sense, and the stone spirit obediently shut up. There are also legends that the remaining 3 treasures are all in the lost life-spirit heavenly court. Moreover, other than the 3 great treasures, there are countless other precious treasures in the life-spirit heavenly court. For countless years, countless experts have tried to find the whereabouts of the life-spirit heavenly court. Unfortunately, none of them succeeded. But I found out that the fragments of the life-spirit origin stone might contain clues to the life-spirit heavenly court. Ling Yue said. The fragments of the life-spirit origin stone have clues to the life-spirit heavenly court? Then why don't you just ask the stone spirit? Lu Ming said. No, the stone spirit doesn't know either. Ling Yue shook her head. This girl is right. I really don't know. Moreover, the life-spirit origin stone has been shattered and I have lost my memories, so I don't know either. The stone spirit shouted. I've said everything that needs to be said. How about it? Shall we cooperate? Ling Yue said. Cooperation? Lu Ming asked. You and I have a fake marriage. We don't need to get married. We just need to let the outside world know that we're dating. Then, we'll work together to hunt down the other owners of the life-spirit origin stone, seize their life-spirit origin stone, and search for the treasures of the life-spirit heavenly court. Ling Yue said. Isn't it fine to cooperate? Why do you have to seize other people's life spirit origin stone fragments? Lu Ming said. That's right, cooperation is fine, but others won't cooperate with you properly. In addition, the life spirit origin stone fragments can be said to be a proof of the life spirit heavenly court. The more you collect, the greater the benefits you will receive. In fact, with the life spirit origin stone fragments, you can obtain a powerful force. As for what it is exactly, I don't know. I need to explore it myself. If we cooperate, I've already told you all the information I know about the life spirit heavenly court. Ling Yue said. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. To be honest, he was very tempted. The life spirit heavenly court was a power that could challenge the heavenly palace. If they could find the treasures left behind by the life spirit heavenly court, how shocking would that be? Especially the 3 great treasures, they were treasures that countless people would covet. As for the condition, it was only to pretend to be in a relationship with Ling Yue. This condition was not unacceptable. After all, his current identity was Mu Yun. In the future, it would not spread to Xian Yanqing and Autumn Moon. Moreover, pretending to be in a relationship with such a beauty was also a pleasure. In addition, he had originally planned to leave this place first. It just so happened that he could leave with Ling Yue to investigate the matter of the life spirit heavenly court, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. It was decided so happily. Lu Ming made his decision. Myriad Dao Dragon Emperor. Myriad Dao Dragon Emperor.